just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to an episode of Bloke in a Bar. And don't forget the NordVPN Defense Player of the Week. It is back. It'll be later in the show. But let's just get straight into it, shall we? The great Hamiso, he is back. How was the trip, mate?
It was awesome. It was awesome. And as I was saying to you guys in the green room, I'm super stoked that I rushed back for that awesome game yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
What an absolute...
And to lose at that game too, which would have hurt. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's one thing to like play like that and win, but then play like that and lose, that sucks.
Yeah, it certainly did, unfortunately. Good to see the Broncos still suck since I've been away as well. What a premiership hangover. One for the ages, that one.
It's all right. We're still the reigning premiers.
$26 to make the 8.
Yeah, I mean, let's just focus on Face the Music.
Okay, let's
focus.
do it.
Queensland
are you sure?
turn on each other. Fantastic.
Are you sure you want me to focus on Face the Music? Have a look at the spreadsheet.
No, this year's. Oh, you weren't here last week. I actually revealed what I was doing this year. It's all for content.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I revealed that last week.
So you're not tipping properly? I was going to.
No, I'm not tipping properly.
A few weeks ago, you said you're going to start tipping properly.
But that's part of the content.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, because then they laugh at me. They go, oh, he said he was going to tip properly, then he tipped really poorly. That's all part of the content.
Okay. Usually there's like a rug pull or something like an evolution, or you actually start going well.
Nah, it's just all for content.
Okay, it's all for content.
Yep.
All right, well, I'm glad we cleared that up. That's good. Now, I got to say, Tommy, nothing personal, but I was just quickly fussicking through the numbers across the road to get the spreadsheet up to date. I've obviously been away for a couple of weeks. I haven't kind of compiled a running tally of all of yours because, you know, you took over from Timmy about halfway through. I mean, I can add it all together and amalgamate it. Maybe that's the way I'll do it, but I'll have to do it for next week.
That's fine. Just all you need to know is I won last week.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
You've had your eye in. I did listen. You've been going quite well.
Thank you,
All right, let's get into the ones that I've got on.
Proudly brought to you by Sportsbet, by the way. Give us a follow on the feed.
Please do. Get around us. I'm in good form, actually. Had a nice little win on the on game 2. Nwangani Tuase 2 or more. Cobbo 2 or more.
Actually,
Bang.
yes, you did.
60 to 1.
60.
Yeah. Did you jump on?
I didn't jump on. Apologies,
Why
mate.
not? Don't you draw your diagram? Or
It's all for content.
Good
like,
punting.
I knew that this was a conversation would happen.
Yep.
And so I didn't jump on, so we were like, you idiots, content.
Yeah.
So sharp.
Yeah.
The content king.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right, let's get into this round. So round 17 of Face the Music. The Eels 12 defeated by the Bunnies 32. I was the only one with any points here. A lot of Souths 1 to 12. People getting a little bit too cute. I had Souths -6.5. So get around me. The next game, Titans 12 defeated by the Dogs 30. No points for anybody. A little bit of an upset this one. The Titans obviously had that great win against the Panthers last week, so no points for anyone in that early game. Broncos 18 defeated by Chooks 24. Matty and Rude, you both had the Chooks -3.5. Nailed it. Just treaded a fine line there. I had a bit of my usual spite bet against the Broncos. Chooks 13+, and Kempy went the Broncos 1 to 12. Lol. Good stuff. Game of the round, potentially game of the year.
Yeah.
Dolphins 26 defeat the Wars 24. I took the Finns head-to-head, $1.60. Kempy had the Finns -3.5. Lol. You just missed out there, mate, unfortunately. Robbed or funny. It's all for content, apparently, so it's good. Then we get into the Cowboys. Another big upset here. Cowboys 26 defeat the Panthers 12. No points for anyone. Another huge shock here. Nobody saw the Cowboys getting the job done in that game. Manly 30. Gurus Manly, 30 defeat the Storm 4. Real and myself had Manly head-to-head at $1.57. Storm 13+ apparently for Kempy. And Storm 13+ for Matty as well. So just missed it, boys. The Raiders 24 defeat the Dragons 16. Points for Matty and myself. Dragons +11.5. No points for anybody else. So as we get through, 6 or 7 games of football here, Kempy still on a donut, which is interesting. International Donut Day, by the way, was 3 weeks ago. And then the Knights 12 defeat the Tigers 6. Poo Slinger, no points for anyone. So well done, Kempy. You have completed another nudie on there. Round 17 results. Myself, $6.97. Matty, $3.80. Rue, $3.47. And Kempy on a nudie run. And as it's for content, may as well film you doing a nudie run somewhere.
Well, no, it's the rule is you have to wait it out for a whole episode.
Okay.
But I couldn't be fucked doing it today. So I'll put that in the bank. I'll do it next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
It's one of the bank.
You're going to do it after the Origin? No, that's in the lead up to the Origin Cider.
Yeah.
All right.
But
sweet.
it will be worn for an episode. It will be worn.
All right. Nice one. All right. So overall, we have a new leader as I return back to our shores. $131.40. Myself, get around me. I'm doing it for content, by the way, winning, which is good. Guru, $131.11. Matty, $116.03. Daylight, Denon, $73.08.
73, all right. That's all
And
right.
Timmy Williams, 45.72. But I'm going to start adding Tommy's to Timmy's. So I'll go back and do that over the course of the week. But that's where the cookie crumbles after 17 rounds.
That's a worry for you.
That is a worry.
There's like a 6-week gap there.
But when you really think about it, though, it's great for content.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
Can't wait
so-
for the nudie run. If you get one more donut for
No,
the year,
no, don't be silly.
if you get one more donut for the year, it's a nudie run in the clown week.
All right, that's Face the Music brought to you by Sportsbet. You got to run now, correct?
Yep.
Or do you want to stay around for the Origin chat?
I'll have to run.
Okay, sweet.
Tragically.
No, that's all good.
Should we run through the games for this week?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Probably throw Origin in there as well. All right, so the first game, Penrith Panthers, $1.68. They host the Rabbitohs, $2.19. This is on Friday. The line is 2.5 points.
The Rabbitohs take on the... I'm just going to go... Oh, man, this is a tough one. I'll just go Panthers head-to-head.
Yep, $1.68.
I'll take Brian Toto with the start.
Brian Toto with the start. Okay, yep. 200,
He's
so
gonna
Panthers
ruin
minus
South
2.5.
Sydney this week, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us Panthers line.
Yep.
Swallow that up.
Oh yeah, just soccer to me. Panthers head $1.68. I will take. Yeah, I reckon Panthers.
Hold on, is he allowed to do that?
What?
Doesn't he have to take Souths?
Yeah, you got to take
It's your
South.
fucking team.
It's
I'm
your
taking
team.
Manly every game. You have to take
yeah,
Souths.
you have
That's
to
the
take your
fucking
team.
rules.
You have to take your team.
Shock me.
He's a face of
Wow.
music trailblazer.
No wonder he goes for India when Australia play India. Unbelievable stuff.
Souths 1 to 12 get you $3.25. I will take the Panthers 1 to 12 for $3.
You know what? It just makes my win last year even more impressive because I actually do follow that rule. So just throw it
Yeah,
there.
your team did win the comp, to be fair.
A good point.
Well, to be fair, we were sitting in 11th halfway through the year, so it actually just makes it
Yeah,
even
true.
more
I
impressive.
think you're about 14
It's a long
now,
season.
which is interesting. Dragons. What a game this is. $2.55. Host the West Tigers, $1.52 at Cogra. The line is 5.5 points.
I am going to go. I'll go Tigers with. I'll go Tigers head to head.
Yep, $1.52.
Tigers 1 to 12.
$2.90.
Am I allowed to just put this game to go to Golden Point?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet.
Welcome.
my
Yep.
bet.
It's only for the greats, though.
What are you thinking?
Only
Nil
the
all?
greats hit them.
You thinking nil all, or what are you thinking?
I don't know. Could be 0-all. Could be 4-all.
Yeah.
You know,
Could
somewhere
be-
in the
I
somewhere
reckon it
in
might be
between.
a 1-0. 1-0 and then sort of park the bus, sort of Popovich style fight at the back.
Alex Twile kick a field goal in the 6th minute and then just defend their way to victory.
Now we're
sort of.
talking. Now,
Yeah.
Matty, yourself? Yeah, this is a Tigers 13 plus if ever I've seen it. $2.65. The Broncos, $2.53. They host the Sharks, $1.52. 5.5 points is the line.
Broncos head to head.
$2.53.
Sharks 1 to 12.
305.
Broncos 13 plus.
Shout out to Pitbull. $6.25. Sharks line. Yep, I'll take the Sharks to cover. Oh, in fact, Sharks 13 plus $2.60. Eels. They host the Manly Seagulls. Eels $3.20. Manly $1.35. Line 9.5.
I'll go Manly minus Manly minus 9.5.
Yep.
Manly head to head.
$1.35. Nice. Yep.
Manly to cover the start.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to go Manly 13 plus $2.15. And then to bring us home, the Newcastle Knights, $2.17. They host the Dolphins, $1.69. 2.5 points is the line.
I'm going to go
Who's Newcastle missing? What? KP, Brady Best.
Brad Best, but I feel like the Dolphins have been up so much.
8 in a
and
row.
they're missing.
Where have I heard that before?
Yeah, true.
Not
My
sure.
nightmares.
You know what? I'll go Knights 1 to 12. Knights 1 to 12.
330.
Finn 1 to 12.
310.
Knights 1 to 12.
Yep. Ooh, 315. I will go Dolphins head to head, $1.69. That's Face Music.
That's
Give me a
Face
follow on the
Music.
feed. I'm running hot at the moment in the lead up to Origin 3. Get around me.
Get around him. Thanks, Sportsbet. Appreciate you. Next segment.
Yeah.
Cool. Done.
Thanks for having me back.
Done. No, thank you. All right, it's time for the Code Sports story of the week. Tyson, what do you got this week, mate?
Yeah, look, mate, I'll let you guys dive into Origin. We're going to dive into some June 30 talk. We're at Monday, 29th of June, So it's getting close. We've got 1 day, but there is some movements going around the league, which I think we should talk about, right? Let's start with the ones that have already happened. Bronson Xerri will move to the Storm. They were hoping this year, but it will be for next year. That deal's done, 3-year deal. Let's start talking about this year now. Literally right before we got on air, finalised Oren Keeley from the Dolphins will join the Storm this week.
Wow,
as of
they
today,
let him go.
They got him. So the Dolphins initially said no. There were talks back and forth, and the Dolphins said, no, you can't have him. But they've obviously...
Is there any compensation?
Not back to the Dolphins yet, but the Dolphins are also... You'll hear the Dolphins are moving pieces around as well. But just quickly on the Dolphins, like what do they get from this salary capital? They get the money.
relief?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a trade. So the Dolphins won't get a player back, but they'll get the money that they were supposed to spend on.
And so what benefit do they get this year though?
Well, from what I've heard, Oren's not playing. He's no use to him. They can start looking for next year. They're trying to re-sign Cody Nikorima.
I think Cody Nikorima is where it's going.
He's their big one. They want to get Cody Nikorima over the line. How that works though is still up in the air because as has been published, George Williams is on his way to the club next year as well. So in what capacity they play their halves next year is going to be really interesting and one to watch, which we should have over.
We'll get into it later, but surely George Williams is being signed as depth, and Nikorima is the main six. Surely,
I don't think he was signed as depth.
No,
but I think
initially
it might turn out.
he was signed to partner in the halves with Isaiah Katoa, but I mean, no one can hide from how good that combination's been this year. They're a genuine premiership threat, and I think we're going to see the fruits of Cody Nikorima over the next couple of weeks with Isaiah Katoa injured.
Yeah, and I think the Dolphins are looking at next year going, we win a comp. And if you got 3 halves, fantastic.
Helps.
So it's a massive coup for the Storm boys. Joe Chan and Lasardi both picked up injuries over the weekend, so they do need a back row. Initially, it was probably looking like he was going to start in reserve grade, but there's a good chance with the bye this week. Next week, Oren Keeley is straight into that Melbourne side.
And he's been playing footy week in, week out, Oren Keeley?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep.
So then Luke Lalili from the Tigers will join the Warriors. This is an interesting one because the Tigers were really struggling with outside depth, but they've let Luke Lalili go to free up some cap space.
I'm surprised with this one. I'm a big believer in Macassini just going back into reserve grade and just enjoying his footy. He looks, confidence-wise. I know his shoulder was bung with that Dom Young situation, and we'll get to, but I was surprised at this one.
Do you think they would have still made this decision if it was this week and Taylor May was injured?
From my understanding, so I made phone calls around this last week, and from what I heard from the Tigers' perspective was we didn't want to let Luke go. Luke's got a good opportunity to play first grade where he was probably stuck behind a few guys here. I think they view Tito Tavana over him, and Masi Macassini, obviously, so they thought...
But that's confusing because you rush Taylor May back in after 2 dislocations of his shoulder. You're that desperate to make the 8, but you allow depth to go just because he can play first grade somewhere else. Surprising.
Yeah, 100%. But again, with the Tigers, also what will come in, Junior Tupou is expected to be done over the next couple of days. So Junior Tupou will come back to the Tigers after he started his career there, spent some time at the Dolphins and the Roosters. And he's one that is heavily linked with the Tigers. That's not done yet, but that's one that is up in the air. And Luke Lalili, the Warriors were desperate for some outside back cover. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck obviously injured. The Warriors have had so many injuries we discussed last week. So that's a good. I think it's a good signing for the Warriors. And Luke's shown some pretty good signs to start this year.
Do we see him going straight into that Warriors side?
No. But it's a depth signing, right? So it's if they've lost so much.
That's what I don't get.
Then it doesn't make sense what the Tigers have said. Because if it's he's got a good opportunity to play first grade, where?
Well, it's because of the amount of injuries that the Warriors have. The Tigers believe that he'll get more.
But don't Tigers have injuries too?
Yeah, he's have injuries as well.
I agree. I'm sadly not the one that does these selections.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I'm not
what's
going to have a crack at you. It's just more. I feel like I'm struggling to believe that that's the reason.
Did they have to release someone for Josh Schuster to arrive?
No. Josh Schuster's not part of the top 30. Won't be part of the top 30. He's also on this list. He's signed a New South Wales Cup deal. The Tigers pay him $1,000 a week. Trains in first grade once a week. If he gets in the side, he gets in the side.
Okay.
So yeah, then
bizarre from the Tigers.
The Luke Lalili.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't get it.
There is a subtle underlying that the Tigers are trying to make money for other things.
Yep.
I don't believe it'll be a new signing. I believe it's about retaining some of those other guys. Samuel Fanu's first on their list to re-sign, but Luke Lalili's money's not going to re-sign Samuel.
Well, but also he's going to Perth next year, so it's bizarre because if you're desperate to make the 8, so desperate that the whole May situation, whatever. Anyway, it's strange.
The Tigers are adamant there's no issues with Luke. They love Luke. His brother's still at the club. Anyway,
I
moving
mean,
on.
that's kind of worse because then I'm sitting there going, it's a bad decision.
Yeah. On Schuster, does he need an exemption to play?
Not
First
after
grade now?
not after a certain after June
round 13
30
or something?
Yeah, it was round 11, I think it
Round
is.
11?
But they're pretty much the Josh Schuster deal will work similar to how Taylor May's deal worked last year. The Tigers signed Taylor May on a trainer trial initially, and then he worked his way into the team. But they're not going to rush Josh at all. It's going to be Josh will play New South Wales Cup when he's ready to play New South Wales Cup. But he's got to earn his way into that side.
Have you heard anything in terms of position? With him?
Josh wants to play in the halves.
Yeah.
Josh is pretty thin now as well.
I
a
saw
six, he
Josh
looks
at the CBA Bowl. Josh is playing nowhere but in the halves.
Yeah, he's
not much to him at the
He's lost
moment,
heaps
yeah.
of weight. He looks fit, looks agile. So that's going to be his position. You might be able to play him as a ball playing lock, but you probably don't want him taking that contact in the middle.
really exciting because we saw him at North Sydney Oval and he's proper lean.
Yeah. So I had a good conversation with him at Magic Round, and he seems pretty switched on. So like you said, it's pretty exciting. Your Broncos, Kempy, they were after Luciano Leilua. The Dragons said no, but I can see there being another push for him. The Broncos are desperate for some more forwards. He only played 21 minutes yesterday. Mate, what are your thoughts on Luciano Leilua joining the Bronx?
He's a great player. The Madge. Yeah, look, I don't know.
Madge coached him before. Tales of Tiger Town, great
Yeah,
documentary.
And
Leilua's.
didn't they fucking get released or some shit under Madge as well? To the Dragons? No, to Cowboys?
Yeah, I believe that is true.
Anyway, I know we need edge depth, but it's just when you consider the type of coach Madge is, anyway, we'll see.
And then we also have the Dragons are in the market. So the Dragons are one to watch over the next couple of days for another outside back and another forward. They lost Jaden Sewer. They haven't been able to replace him yet. So that they are looking for, another edge player, another and they're also looking in the outside backs, which I've heard. So that'll be an interesting one to watch over the next couple of days. And also the Bulldogs have one roster spot left. They're desperately low on back rowers. Jacob Preston should come back this week, but Satili Tupanua and Viliami Kikau both injured still. So they're one to watch as well over the next day or so.
They've got young guys they should blood, in my opinion. Their
Doggies?
cup team is flying at the moment. There's some good players down there.
Okay.
They've made a pretty good system, the Dogs. I think, like you said, I spent some time there, and like some of those guys that I trained with, they're definitely ready to play first grade. We've all seen what Jack Underhill's done in the last 6 weeks or so. So I'm probably with you on that. But they're definitely looking. They're definitely searching. So yeah, a lot of movement. I think the next day is going to be super interesting. Things might get lost because of Origin chat. I'm about to head to Origin camp now after this. So, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on. We're literally tracking everything on code. So
I was actually hearing that because Toto was so upset he's coming to the Broncos. That's what I was hearing, like so upset from the Blues. He just wants to get out of the state of New South Wales. And
I
that's
think
what
that might be
go to Broncos.
fake news. Fake news there, mate.
Has he changed his last name to Leilua in the last 24 hours?
that's all. I'm just like I can't confirm or deny. I'm just hearing he's so pissed off at the state of New South Wales. He wants to come live in Queensland. So
Blind source story.
he's going to be on the wing for.
You guys normally need a New South Welshman to win a comp, so that would check out.
Fuck, you guys literally need 2 salary caps to come fucking 8th.
Yeah, it works. Shut up.
Alrighty, that's the Code Sports story of the week. Is the discount still there, Matty? Yeah, until Wednesday. Use it. And my article tomorrow. Make sure to use it, guys. I'm telling you. Make sure to use it. Last 24 hours or so. $19 for the entire year. You will not regret it. Trust me. Thanks, Tyson, for joining us. We appreciate it, mate.
Thanks, boys.
Boom. Okay, boys. It is time for the big news of the week. Absolute bombshell dropping yesterday. Ben Stokes has retired from international cricket.
Yeah, it was huge. Massive.
And as a cricket podcast, that rocked me to my core.
I knew it was on the cards, but the more he's played on the last few seasons, Kempy, I've really just thought that it could go forever. But like all good things, it had to come to an end. And
now, do we agree with the recent drama that happened off the field in the nightclub? Should have he been in trouble for that with the fight?
No, and I think there's a lot of South Africans out there that are very disappointed that he's retiring.
Is he Kiwi? No, he's Kiwi.
Oh, he's
Kiwi. Yeah. I knew there's a bit of a. You're just trying to check my knowledge of cricket there. Correct.
Well, lucky one of us knows a lot about cricket.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
One of us doesn't.
I tell you what, I know this is a bit, but what actually happened this morning is I want to see a reaction. So he's off the ECB. The ECB are off him, right? And to say pretty much fuck you to the ECB, he opened himself in the batting and then tried to hit the first 2 balls for 6 in a test match.
And then when the news got put out, started filtering through the crowd, he was bowling, took a wicket.
Do you think now that he's done with his career, do you reckon he'll admit to the fact that he dyes his hair blonde? as I've suspected this whole time.
I think so. But proud Kiwi, one of the greatest Kiwi players of all time in regards to cricket. All right, let's get into it, boys.
The ECB sounds intimidating. Just
ECB.
Gang that would shiv.
Sounds like something else.
the least intimidating cricket team ever. At least when they came to Australia, that's for sure. Okay, boys, let's talk about it. James Tedesco at the back. Bostock at 2. Bradman Best at 3. Stephen Crichton at 4. Nwanga Nitawase at 5. Moses at 6. Cleary at 7. Payne Haas at 8. Reece Robson at 9. 10 is Mitch Barnett. 11 is Hudson Young. 12, Liam Martin. Isaiah Yeo is 13. Cam Murray at 14. 15, Adam Fanua-Blake. 16, Hamole OLAKAU'ATU. 17, Blake Brayley. 18, Ethan Strange. Kohler at 19. Victor Radley at 20. Roo, I'll go straight to you, man.
Where do we want to start here? What are we thinking?
Let's start with To'o being dropped.
Yeah, I feel so sorry for To'o. I think he's been, one of our best Blues over the last couple of years. He's got, you go into a decider. I think experience matters, according to Daily. Experience matters as well. Not for To'o, for whatever reason. My other thing is, mate, To'o hasn't shrunk in the last 3 weeks. You picked him knowing what his strengths are, what his potential weaknesses are. To then bring Jack Bostock in, who, similar to Dill Lucas in game 2, this isn't an attack on Jack Bostock. He's a great player. He's been doing really, really well. He's been playing right centre in clubland. From my understanding is you're bringing him into an origin decider to play on the left wing to defend with Bradman Best, who he's never played with before. Once again,
who's also a relative rookie in the Origin arena too.
Yeah, he's played a few games now, but he's not.
This will be third game.
Third game, yeah. If you wanted him to play any games, it'd be 2 deciders at least. But yes, still relative. He's also 1 game back from injury. Bradman Best, 2 games back from injury.
I think.
Sure. But yeah, leaving To'o out, I also think, mate. I said last week I would have Ethan Strange as my 5'8". We'll get to that soon. I wouldn't have had Mitch Moses in my squad. I don't think he's played well enough to be there. I think he's still playing hurt. I would have had Jerome Luai to bring some energy to this side because I think they've been flat. I think that they've missed the mark consistently throughout this series. I think he's gone in the opposite direction. I think to take Brian To'o out, I think it's also just going to kill the energy in this squad.
Yeah, I think we can all agree Stoke for Bostock and he might go out there and kill it.
Yes.
We can all agree that. So this is no reflection on Bostock because we actually are one of the few people that were saying very early on,
yes,
this guy is close to an Origin selection. So I just want to get that out of the way because we'll talk about the positives in Bostock. I'll go to you, Tommy Bomb. Thoughts on To'o getting dropped?
Yeah, I think in terms of him and Cooler, it's going to be interesting with our sort of yardage game. I think you're taking a lot, probably the 2 main guys that you would look to bring a lot out of your own end. You're taking those 2 out. So that's going to be a big test. I think Jack's very good in that area, but obviously massive shoes to – you're sort of at least taking out 250 metres of yardage there with Brian To'o. So big shoes to fill. I assume that they think that between Critter, Bostock and Bradman that we'll be able to pick up the slack there. I do think in terms of positives, we're probably better in the air now, obviously, as you were saying before, Roo. That's not something that's new with To'o though, but maybe if we go into this game and attacking kicks is definitely something that we're looking for, at least it makes a bit of sense. But yeah, I thought To'o had done more to earn another game. I think he had some uncharacteristic errors in game 1. I didn't think he was outrageously bad in game 2. They got above him a few times, but
once.
Well, yeah. So I think it is a bit tough, but like you said, Jack's a big in to me. We sort of said first week he came back, this guy could definitely be an Origin player. He looks so good, and even looking at the photo of him that you put up with the squad, you can see that he's cut up on the face. I like that.
Yeah,
I think he's going to bring a lot of energy.
That's good Origin.
I think one thing that concerns me with this selection is it takes me back to 15 years ago when instead of picking our best team, we'd pick a team to try and handle Queensland. We'd pick a Bo Scott at centre to try and handle GI, all this sort of stuff. And I just think it is ridiculous that we're picking guys to try and match up with Queensland instead of trying to go out and win this game of football. Brian To'o has scored 11 tries in 15 games. He's our top try scorer in State of Origin history. I'd argue as a winger, he's not even try scoring wouldn't be in his top 2 in his skill set for me. It's what he does coming out of his own end. It's the experience that he has. He is, I was talking about it for years on this show with you, Kempy. Like he is consistently, he saves his best performances for the biggest games. He hasn't been great this series, sure. He struggled in game 1. I actually thought in game 2 was okay outside of getting out-jumped once or whatever it was.
I hate that we took, like, oh, no, you're not doing this.
Yeah.
But, like, the only reason we're talking about that is because he's short. Tall wingers get out-jumped all the time, and we don't talk about it.
He's been short for 25 years.
Yeah.
Like, what are we, like, this is what I can't fucking get my head around. Like, I'd love to hear that phone call that Laurie Day has with him and goes, hey, I know you've been the best player for New South Wales Blues in 2 out of the last 3 years, but for this game, I've noticed you're short.
It's bizarre.
Fucking, like, what is doing?
Maybe it's not just that though, and it's hard to sort of try and go in and bat and make sense of a lot of these decisions because they don't make sense and they haven't throughout the whole series. But like in the first 2 games, so Toto was our leading, like in terms of running meters, 185 in the first game and 158 in the second game. Like he ran for the most meters. Maybe they've sort of gone, because you said before, we were like, maybe it's about trying to match Queensland. Could it be the opposite? Like where they've gone, you know what? Like we've tried to go with like a big yardage game and these guys have our own end. Maybe they're trying to go with more of a side where they're like, we can create more points. Like Brian Toto's a great finisher, obviously, works hard out of his own end. Maybe they're trying to go for guys where if we go inside our own 20, we can try and convert more. I don't know. Like it's hard to make sense of, but.
Matty, I'll go to you, mate. Your thoughts?
Yeah, rocked me last night, to be honest. Rocked me. I don't want to like shit on anyone, but like Mark, I don't think Mark deserved to be dropped, but he had a bad game on the weekend.
He also, like, he was a good game too. He also led in 3 tries that we're not talking about. Like, for some reason, we keep focusing on Toto got out jumped. Why are we not talking about the other
tries,
the 3 tries that were led in? Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, that's so it's like equal to my point anyway. Like Bostock's been playing as a right centre this year since he come back from an ACL, and then they stick him on the left wing. I feel like there was plenty of changes that should have been made, and I'm a fan of a lot of the changes actually, and we'll get into it later. But this is one I'm not a fan of this at all. Like Toto's again, like he won the Brad Fittler medal last year. He won the Brad Fittler medal in 2023. I'm pretty sure he's been so consistent since. Like even though he hasn't had his best series, he's still making all of our meters. He's still taking the tough carries. I don't get it. I think it's a bad call. I think it's a bad call.
I think it's a good point. Like if he was a foot taller and he got out jumped, are we dropping him?
It wouldn't even be spoken about. It would be like, oh, look what happened. And I spoke it on the thing, okay, as a winger, if you go back and watch that try that was scored, he was essentially no one's catching that unless that is your absolute specialty. So what happened was a line break was made down the left side. There was a 2-pass shift to Munster. Kohler, everyone had to come up because if they don't, they could just go pass, score. Toto has to come up, then realise, oh crap, they're going to kick. He has to start sprinting back. He's like essentially running backwards as Jojo Fafita, who has the angle on him because he can stay wide and come in like that. Usually as a winger, if you've got the normal time, you go back into your corner and you're running into the ball. And the reason why Toto doesn't get out jumped a lot of the time is because he's so physically strong. He charges into the ball and knocks people off the ball because he's physically big. And it's just like, it's so frustrating because the only reason we're talking about him getting out jumped is because he is shorter. He's still fucking tall for a normal human being. Like, that's the only reason. If Nwanga'Nitawase got a try score on him because of someone out jumped him, we wouldn't even be talking about this. We wouldn't talk about it. We would just go, oh, fuck, great play, Queensland. So this is the thing with Toto that I find frustrating. I am not against bold, brave calls from a coach and selections. I am not against that. The frustrating thing I have is the mixed messaging as to why you were dropped. That's the frustrating thing I have. Just like you said, mate, he didn't become short yesterday, and I keep saying short. He didn't become shorter than some of these really, really tall wingers yesterday. And so you've got guys that have played really quite poorly in Origin this year that don't get dropped, that have played worse than he has played. Outside of the game 1, I'll admit game 1 he was really poor, but they're not getting dropped. Then certain players are getting dropped because they don't have experience in deciders at Suncorp, but he does have experience in deciders in Suncorp. He's probably your most experienced player outside of James Tedesco. So the mixed messaging, but also when you drop a rookie, the impact on the playing group, it's relatively small because they're a rookie, they're new into the team, they don't have as much credit in the squad. When you drop essentially the greatest New South Wales winger of all time, that has a ripple effect to the rest of the squad because you have to ask yourself as a coach, would the senior players in this side select Toto? And I think to a man, every single person in the senior playing group for New South Wales would select him. So now you've got a senior playing group going, far out, like dropping Toto. That's a negative impact on the squad's morale heading into it. And because you become so close in these representative teams and also these NRL teams, it can affect morale because you're sitting there going, where's the respect for a guy that was he made our most meters last game. He had 9 tackle breaks as well, which I think was the most tackle breaks maybe of anyone on the field. That's how good he was. And also, even if you want to make the argument, okay, we want to have great attacking players on the wing that we can kick to, you still have to say we are getting rid of the best meter eater winger in the history of the game for that. And why wasn't that selection made before game 1? Why is it so, why are we finding out that tall wingers are good under the high ball for attack just now in game 3? That's what doesn't make sense to me. That's where I sit here and go, I feel like Toto deserved a bit better. And saying all that, if there is one shining light for the Blues, you have struggled to put on points, and kicking to your wingers could be the way that you do put on points. Yeah. So that is the positive of this, but you are losing the greatest, essentially one of the greatest, if not the greatest Blues winger of all time, and also the greatest meter eater, and also a leader, and also a guy that gets the boys up. And on top of that, there is one thing now, Nwangani Tuase was quite good coming out of the own end of the game too, but Bostock and him, because of their frames, if you win that contact and get under him, you can drive them back. And that's what makes Toto so good at meter eating, is that you can't get under him because he's so stocky. So, as I said, I'm not adverse to brave, big calls, but I am adverse to mixed messaging to a squad.
And I think it sends a poor message to this squad as a whole. And as you said, this is he is our best Blues winger of all time. There'll be people that will scoff at that, but I think Jared Hayne won 2 Brad Fittler medals on the wing. Brian Toto's won 2 in 3 years, but you even have a look at Hayne's career. 23 games, he's got 11 tries. He's got 11 in 15.
Yeah.
He
guarantees you 200 metres, literally.
Yes, and he does more out of his end than anyone has ever done before. And once again, how do we go into an Origin decider and experience doesn't matter? I cannot.
Well, it does to some.
Well, it does in some picks, but then other picks and I love Jack Boast. He's a fantastic player, but he's played, I would guess, 50 NRL games. 30 of them are on the wing.
Yeah.
And he comes in for a decider, playing on the other wing, playing on the other side to what he usually does. I think you're just opening up a can of unknowns here.
But that's the thing for me, Roo. I personally, the way I've been watching him play last few weeks, I was like, I think Jack Bostock, if he comes in, I'm actually excited, despite him being a rookie. If he comes in, I think on form, the energy that he can bring in was huge. You got Stephen Crichton and Jack Bostock. They've both played a lot of centre, a lot of wing. On the right side, Jack plays for the club. Would it not make way more sense to have either him on the right wing or him at right centre? And given Critter's been nursing an AC injury, maybe he's your right winger, and defensively he can just help out Jack in his first game. That to me would make more sense. I don't understand how you arrive at the conclusion that let's put Jack on the left wing in order to drop our greatest winger of all time.
On top of that, why are you picking Stephen Crichton?
When game 2 you didn't. Yeah,
no, they wanted to pick Stephen Crichton in game 2. He ruled himself out with injury. Why did we want to pick Stephen Crichton?
He's a big game player.
He's a big game player.
But also, apparently he ruled himself out. I struggle to believe that.
I've got no issue with them picking Critter though. Watching him play on the weekend, he's a big game player, and I'm okay with them being we want him out there for the moment. But to me, that rationale would apply to Brian Toto.
Yeah, exactly. I've got no problem with picking Crichton as well. I would have done the same thing for that rationale. It's a big game.
Yeah.
He has big game experience. And I hope he hasn't. But there's every chance Laurie Daly and the Blues have kind of maybe fucked Dill Lucas's career to some extent. If they do the same with Jack Bostock, I'm going to be filthy.
Look, the positives are Bostock has been playing outstanding. Just quickly on the Brian Toto just as well. A lot of people are going, but his club form hasn't been great. His club form, he's still averaging 187 metres a game. He's actually scored more tries this year than he had last year for the whole season. Now, I understand they started a bit slow last year, but he still has scored 10 tries and he's averaging 187 metres.
Yeah, and they're kicking every single ball to Tom Jenkins for a reason.
Yes. Bostock, though, there is a world where he kills it. I do think that this guy is a gun. I do think that he does remind me a lot of a Mark Gasnier-esque type player. And I'm stoked for him. And if he is used correctly, which we don't have much evidence that will be the case, like I think Nwangani got 0 crossfield kicks game 2. But if he is used correctly, he could be really, really dangerous.
100% he could be. He is a great player. I think he has played well enough to deserve being in the conversation of playing for the Blues. He's got the nod there. It's not where I would have played him, but I would have been. If they would have picked him over Nwangani Tuase on the wing, you actually wouldn't have got any arguments from me.
That would have been
Because I think
probably
he's more
how
of a
I would
well-rounded footballer as a whole. He doesn't have this. Well, I mean, he's still got a pretty high ceiling there, but Mark's obviously a one of one. And yeah, mate, Jack Bostock's got the potential to be one of our better Origin players for the next 6 or 7 years. Like I don't think anyone would push back on that at all. But this is we as Blues fans, we kept on being put in these positions where you pick good players, but you let go of great players.
Yeah.
And
I think
just mixed. It's mixed messaging.
Yes, I said like that's what I am struggling. If you had said like for example, so Bradman Best has been brought in, to Laurie Daly's own words. So Kohler was outstanding for us in game 1 or 2, but we brought Bradman Best in for experience in deciders. So it's like Kohler's getting dropped because he doesn't have the experience, but To'o doesn't get to stay in, but he has way more experience than Bradman Best does. And so that's where if that was the message about experience in big games and you were selecting across the board like that, then I could be like, okay, look, I don't agree with To'o being dropped. Now, I definitely do think with how poor New South Wales have played the first 2 games, I can understand thinking a little bit about it potentially, but actually doing it's another thing. But that's where I go like, it's hard as a player when you get a phone call saying, hey, mate, we're going with Bostock. Most likely, I don't know what he said to him. Like, I don't know what you could say. If you said the high ball, you'd be like, To'o would be like, he's like, I'm a 4-time premiership winning, blah, blah, blah. But really it is because of, this guy's come in, he's tall, he can crossfield kick, blah, blah, blah. So you get that phone call, but then you see Kohler's being dropped, and then you hear Laurie Daly say, well, it's actually because Bradman Best has big game experience. As a player, that's got to sting you a little bit because you're like, hang on a sec, like I just got dropped, but I'm the one with most, you know what I'm saying?
Do we all agree this Brian To'o dropping? I don't know if you were just playing devil's advocate before. But
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
It's the
It
wrong
has
call.
to be about height, right? Like
the
because if
only
not, you also pick Kohler on left wing in game 1.
Mm.
So you could have then gone to him on left wing. You've decided not to go with him. You've just gone and picked a tall guy out on the wing.
And Bostock was in the squad last game too,
Yeah.
so he could have been brought in.
Yes.
I think, it definitely has a lot to do with height. But even like the idea, like Kemba, you said before, like Mark, he had some nice moments in game 2. There weren't many nice moments for us, but he had a fair few of them. But they also let in a lot of tries down that edge. So like, to me, the right call would have been he drops out, Bostock comes in either at right centre and critters your winger or vice versa. And I'm okay with that because, to be honest, like Rui said before about the ceiling thing, in my opinion, and obviously I'm a Roosters fan, but I think Bostock is close enough to Marky Mark's ceiling. I'm not saying that he can do some of the freakish things that Marky Mark does, but he also doesn't have some of the things in it that Mark has in him sometimes where you go, what the fuck? Like Jack doesn't have those in him. So I'd be okay with him going, we're going to go with him because he'll guarantee you a 7.5 or an 8 minimum. And there's very little chance it's going to be a 4. Whereas with Mark, there's probably a bit more of a
But even that, like I agree with you on Bostock, but it's an Origin decider. You don't know until guys get out there. This is the whole thing. Why do this in an Origin decider?
Well, it's Mark though. And if Mark's the one dropping out, he's had 1 game. They let in 3 or 4 tries down that edge. So if you're bringing in Jack, he's in red hot form. He gives off the vibe. He's a big game player. Like you said, you don't know till you're out there. But if Mark's the one dropping out, I'm actually more than okay with it. He's playing, especially if he's playing outside Critter, who is he's probably the biggest game player you can find as an outside back in terms of runs on the board at the moment.
Yeah. But even if it was that, you picked Mark last game before Jack. You backed him in.
Yeah. What's changed?
I agree with you. I think Jack will be a big game player. He hasn't played finals. He hasn't played rep. He's a fucking good clubland player. There's no doubt about it. But you're throwing him into an Origin decider at Suncorp. I just feel like there's so much unknown that we're gambling with.
There is, but I would have backed it in if it was for Mark. The fact that you dropped To'o and he's playing on the wrong side, that makes me a little bit nervous. I still think Jack has it in him.
Alrighty, the KO can't miss moment. It's got to be the bombshell. New South Wales Blues dropping arguably their greatest ever winger, one of their greatest ever players, in my opinion, Brian To'o. And guys, this week on KO, the only place you can watch every game of every round live with no ad breaks during play is Fox League, available on KO. On Friday night, we've got Penrith featuring, obviously, To'o. He'll be playing against South, so he'll be in for a massive one. Dragons v Titans, Broncos v Sharks in the Super Saturday game, exclusively live on Fox League, included with KO. Manly v Eels is Sunday, which is live only on Fox League. Then the Knights v Dolphins to finish off the round. NRLW season kicks off this week as the competition returns bigger and stronger than ever. Fresh squads, rising stars, and established powerhouse all begin their push for premiership glory. Watch every game live on KO Sports and also Fox League. And F1 Formula 1 returns to the legendary Silverstone circuit for an action-packed sprint weekend. Expect 3 days of high-speed action, dramatic overtakes, and championship-defining moments. Watch the British Grand Prix exclusively live on Fox Sports, included with KO. Races 12 a.m. Australian Standard Time, Monday morning, July 6th. Yeah. In regards to some other selections, listen, at the very least, I understand with Bradman Best why he's been brought in. I actually tossed his name up last week. However, I just think Kohler's... I'm surprised at the lack of outrage for Kohler being dropped when he was in your top 3 players. I get it. I get Bradman Best, and he has played up at Suncorp, so I'm not as opposed to, say, to the Toto one. But I still think, I just think for quite a few years now, Blues, it's almost like they build a little bit of culture and then they blow it up every 2 or 3 years, and they've got to build it again and build it again. And, if you're Kohler, you're sitting there going, okay, so I was in the top 3 players both games, essentially, and even though we didn't play that well, but I've been dropped because I don't have experience for game 3. It's like, okay, well... At the start of the series, were they always sitting there saying, if this gets to game 3, I'm not going to pick Kohler? Because he couldn't have done much more as a player in game 1 and 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I can sit either side with Bradman Best, Kohler. I think 2 things can be true. I think Bradman Best is a very good player and is worthy of being on this stage. I also think Kohler has been fucking incredible this series and probably deserved to hold on to his spot. So I'm sort of in 2 camps here. I would have found a spot for Kohler somewhere. As I said, you picked him on the wing in game 1. You could have picked him there if you really wanted Bradman Best. I know if it was Latrell playing left center, that's obviously different. Right?
Yeah. Like if Latrell's coming in, he's a different beast.
Yeah, very fair.
And I assumed that if there was going to be someone made way, maybe it was Kohler for Latrell. Again, just to be clear, I don't mind the selection of Bradman Best, but once again, it's another rookie being brought into Blues camps, development being pretty much cut down at the legs. It's another guy that's come in where you go, he's got to be pissed off at the very least. Because, in his head as a competitor, he's saying, okay, well, how do you know how I'm going to go into decider? I've gone really well when we're playing shit.
Yeah.
What can Bradman Best do that I can't do? And you got to remember as well, Kohler has been one of the best centers in the comp for at least a year and a half, 2 years now. Whereas Bradman Best has been in and out with injury. I just think it's a pretty rough call on a guy that has been essentially one of your best.
Yeah, I don't think you'd find anyone that would say it's not a rough call. It's tough.
Okay. Critter, I can understand. I still am so confused. Once again, the mixed messaging, they said that he ruled himself out, but then he played that same weekend. I'm finding it very hard to know what is true and what is not true coming out of the Blues camp, and I think that's a detriment to their messaging. It's been quite poor that I haven't seen. It's been one of the more poor years in regards to reasons for why guys are getting dropped.
I actually think it's the worst we've seen from New South Wales, and it's actually been a recurring thing for a long time. Even on the Bradman thing, you could actually argue everything that you guys just said for Kohler applies to Bradman. He's only played 2 games. He fucking slapped in both of them. Cody Walker got given man of the match in his debut. He was the best player on the field. He got robbed of man of the match that game, and then he stood up and came up with one of the biggest plays in the decider that we won up at Suncorp, and yet he didn't get picked the next year. Now, I know it gets a bit confusing when he's in and out with injury, but if you were only to go off what he's given us at Origin level, it's been nothing short of outstanding. So, that's the other confusing bit is there's so many guys you can look at where, big game experience matters. With Critter, like I said, I'd pick him. I feel like Queensland would pick him, regardless of his form, but...
Can I say just one thing on Kohler? So I am 100%. I love the Bradman Best pick. I'm boom, lock him in. I definitely don't think Kohler should be dropped at all. But to your point, Dan, and what makes it confusing is Kohler started. What was he left wing game 1?
Yeah,
he was, wasn't he? Where was he game 2? Left center. Where is he now? Number 19 or something. It's confusing. And not only are you mucking up his development by. I can stomach if Bradman Best comes in because I personally believe Bradman Best deserves to be there. Even though Kohler has absolutely killed it this year, I'm with you guys. I can see both sides. But the fact they've moved him around heaps and now they've put him on a 6-man bench, it baffles the mind.
Not only they've moved around, he's responded positively.
He's done everything he's asked him to do.
He's done every job you've asked him to do.
I'm stoked for Bradman, and I'm stoked he's there. As a Blues fan, that fills me with so much confidence.
100%.
The thing, it's just anyway. Maybe the argument could be he was always going to get selected, but because he's injured, he wasn't. Maybe that's.
I also just think like there has to be an element of these guys going into an Origin camp. You spend 10 days together. You build a special bond across games, and these guys have built a special bond with Brian Tyler across the last half decade. Just have the rug pulled on him. It's got to have an effect on the guys around.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like when it comes to senior players, dropping them means more than just their position. It's not like a rookie where you can go, okay, like this will affect. Now, like I was going to get to it, but I honestly reckon the only way the Blues win this game 3 is if they internally, as a team, privately, without anyone else knowing, saying, boys, don't worry about the administration. Don't worry about everyone above us. This is us on the field here.
I think that almost has to be the approach from the Blues. And I don't come out and say it, nothing. But it has to be a fucking siege mentality between them. This is on us.
This is on us.
We need to win despite this bullshit.
Because I was going to say this more towards the end, but this is the tough thing for the Blues. With all this mixed messaging, blokes getting dropped, getting brought back in, how can you expect these players to put their bodies on the line for a state that doesn't back them in after a good game? That basically they've all got to walk around on eggshells going, like, I might get dropped next week and I haven't even played poorly. Like, that is a hard thing to do as a team when you're sitting there going, you want me to do it, like, to put this jersey on and play for you as a coaching, blah, 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 but you don't have my back.
And you know what? I agree with you. But if that was the same for everyone, sweet. Mitch Moses isn't walking around like that.
But that's
this is the other fucking
it's the mixed
problem.
it's the mixed messaging. And so it's like you're sitting there going that there are going to be coming out of this series, even if you win it, which would be incredible, and you definitely still can. There's a team that can win it there. There's going to be at least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 Blues players going, I feel like I was treated pretty poorly in this situation. Anyway, keep going. Tedesco, boys. Thoughts on the Tedesco selection? I personally probably would have gone Edwards. Turbo was good. He was good on the weekend. Was he enough to go, okay, I have to get him back there? Maybe not, but thoughts on Tedesco at fullback?
Do you think this is Teddy's last game for the Blues, like regardless, potentially?
It's hard to say because
if he wins, does he walk back into it next year?
I think that's an impossible question, to be honest.
With
Because
Teddy?
we don't even know who the coach is going to be next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
fair.
again, like it depends on game plan. Like, watching the Roosters on the weekend, like so often he's like the second guy out the back of shape, and like the halves will just hold their edge sometimes. Like Sam floats a bit more than DCE, but like if you build a game plan around Teddy's strengths and he's in the same form he's been in at club this year, next year, I've got no issue with you picking him if the game plan suits it. My issue is like, the fuck's our game plan been? Like the other thing can be with what you were saying before about, the state not backing you. Like it's hard as fans because like it's not about the players. Like we back the players. But you sit here and you question decisions and what's going on and what's the rationale, and inadvertently there's like a knock-on effect or a vibe that like we don't back our team.
No. When I say the state not backing, I'm not talking about the people.
I know you're
I'm talking about the coaching
But
stuff.
surely as players, like you hear all these questions and like people being like, fuck, what's he doing there? Or, why is he dropped? Why is this guy come in instead? Like the vibe can't help but feel a little bit like that, which is what's frustrating about it. But I think, Teddy being there, had they brought in Edwards, would have made more sense with the messaging that we're getting in some other aspects. But then again, like, I'd be pretty filthy if Moses is still there and Teddy isn't.
Because Edwards was a fullback for Game 3 decider that they won?
Yeah,
Yep.
he was.
Okay. Look, the most surprising thing for me is we've seen all these changes in areas that you could argue, some of them were, granted, Stags had a poor Game 2. But in the area where you've been the most clunky and struggled the most, there's been no changes. So we'll get to it. Mitchell Moses at 6. I said this last week, but after his game on Thursday night, I actually felt sorry for him because I was like, look, of course he's going to put himself up for selection every single week, but he's clearly underdone. Like that game was like, unfortunately it wasn't great for Mitchell Moses. I love Mitchell Moses as a player. I think he's incredible. Seems like a lovely bloke as well. But I just cannot understand with some of these other changes how you can basically back a guy that is underdone, has been underdone all year due to injury, hasn't really played up to the standard that he set himself because he's so good because he's been injured. That's my belief. And then you got a guy like Ethan Strange who on the weekend goes out and rips and shows you the physicality that he can bring, I am genuinely shocked at this selection.
I think sometimes in Origin you look at guys that don't get selected and go, what did he have to do to get selected? I just look at Mitch Moses and go, what did he have to do to not get selected?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like realistically,
Yeah.
like he's played one game of NRL in the last 6 weeks. You know,
And that one game was quite unfortunate. Like, it was a poor game.
it was the worst game in recent memory of Mitch Moses' career. And I don't think there's any conversation there about that because he sets a lofty standard. He's an elite player, but he was dreadful the other night. Even the leader, you know, the games he played previously to that, he was handing over the kicking team. Like he's not 100%.
He's clearly
Very clear.
injured.
You took him off with 10 minutes to go. He's injured. And that's okay. But he's injured.
Yeah.
Like, and once again, if this was 2008 when we don't have anyone else to pick, no other options, you've got a kid there that is sitting on the bench that is screaming, I want to be on this side. My edge back rower is my club edge back rower on that side. Pick me. And I just, like, I also think, mate, there's an element here for me that it's almost a nod to whether they have full faith in Nath Cleary. I think it's at that point.
As in,
Why wouldn't
yeah,
you
like,
pick a genuine 5'8" that can just run with him? Like I don't know why you need to pick Mitch Moses on the wrong side of the field he usually plays on when he's injured, when he's underdone, to help with the kicking game and that sort of stuff. Am I out of line?
No, well, it seems true because if you actually go back to the decider win, it was a genuine running 6 that got it done.
Yep.
Like it was a 7 and a genuine running 6. And I just am so over this whole, he can help Nathan. Like, why should your 7 in Origin need help?
Exactly right.
So back him in or don't select him.
Yeah.
Like, it's bizarre. It's a fair
And
point, really.
I'm number one, been dying on the hill for years. Mitch Moses should be our Origin halfback. I've been saying it for years, getting pushed back.
I mean, yeah, you've been saying it fucking when a lot of people disagree with him, Mitch
Yeah.
Moses is.
He's not playing well enough to do it right now. Nay should be our halfback, 100%. I've pushed against it for 3 years. He is our halfback, and he should be right now. But Mitch shouldn't be in the side. Mitch is he has an Origin moment that is fantastic, and I will never forget it. It's one of the best moments of my fucking life, to be completely honest with you. But he did it as a halfback because that's his position.
Yeah.
You've got Strangey there sitting screaming to be picked, who you know, from everything we've seen so far, screams to me he's ready to play Origin. And we don't pick him.
Dally M6 of the year, Australian squad last year.
And once again, I come back to my question. Is there anything Mitch Moses could have done to not get selected in this?
I don't think so.
Other than being in a boot, is that it?
But even, like, we'll get to it later, but there's a back rower for the Cowboys who, on the weekend, in my opinion, left Queensland no choice but to pick him, and they have. Like, if you watched the Eels game on the weekend and you watched the Raiders game, to me, you had no choice but to drop Moses for Ethan Strange. Like, Moses alone, like his form on Thursday night, like, to me was like, well, okay, this guy can't play Origin right now. That's especially at 5'8". You then have Strange come out and play how he did, and to your point, Roo, on the left side with the guy who's starting at left back row for us next to him. Like, it's actually absurd. I can't make sense of it.
What's crazy as well is, like, if you're Toto, you're sitting there going, how come I don't get this loyalty? Like, why don't I get this loyalty? I've done way more than arguably anyone in this whole squad outside of Teddy maybe, and I get no loyalty. And people go, well, it's because, you know, Bostock has something that Toto doesn't. Strange has something that Cleary doesn't. That Moses doesn't, and Moses has things that Strange doesn't. Like, there's always a trade-off between players. Again, I've been saying it since literally the first selection got announced. The messaging has been the worst I've seen for the Blues. And what's bizarre, I still think that side is good enough to go and win a series up at Suncorp. It's a bloody good side.
Without it, it's a good enough side to go up there and win, but they are going to have to win despite all this shit.
And also, they are truly, like, next year, when next year comes around, they are at literally ground zero when it comes to, like, rebuilding of culture and what it takes to be selected in a Blues side.
Like, if we win this game 3, like, man, I think when the Broncos won the comp last year, Adam Reynolds calls Billy Walters up. And I'd be calling Brian Toto up. He is the New South Wales Blues. He has been for years.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Well,
I'm with you.
you threw out before, like, him being our greatest winger of all time. Like, I actually don't even think that's a conversation. I think he is. And what's funny is, you know, Mitch has had his moment in Origin. You wouldn't even dream of throwing him up there as one of our greatest halves.
Yeah. And so that's why I sit there and go, like, what has some of these other players done to earn loyalty that Toto hasn't?
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Anyway, look, I do think Mitch Moses has the mentality to go out and do something great, for sure. So I want to be clear with that. Like, big fan of Mitchell Moses. I just think Strange is probably going to be the best selection. Cleary, I think, makes sense. Payne Haas makes sense. Reece Robson. I don't mind Reece Robson being there. I'm just a little bit shocked at Blake Brayley coming straight back in for Api Koroisau, also with a broken arm as well. Now, I know he has come back and played, but like Api wasn't even given an opportunity to grab a jersey. I'm quite shocked that Api's just been brought in and then brought out. And all the word on the street was that Api was ahead of Blake at the very least before game one. I'm just a little bit surprised that you're bringing in a guy that, yes, he is back playing footy, but it'll be 4 or 5 weeks removed from a broken arm in Origin. It's a risky prospect. And I've been singing Blake's praises forever. I think he's a gun. I think he doesn't get enough appreciation for how good he is. I just think Api's been a bit hard done by here.
I agree. And I think if you watched that Roosters game 2 weeks ago, was it, when he came back? Like, Roosters found a freeway going at Blake Brayley because he's returning from injury. He's got one arm at the moment. I'm okay with Reece Robson starting at 9. I know there's been a lot of pushback about whether he should be replaced or not. I'm completely fine with Reece Robson being at 9 if you replace him at the right time.
Absolutely.
And if you replace him at the right time, if it's Blake Brayley or Api, I don't mind. If I'm Api, I'd be feeling pretty hard done by that I got picked, didn't get put on the field, and then dropped.
Yeah.
For a guy coming back from injury. Like, once again, it's the mixed messaging. That's insane to me.
It's rough. It's rough as anything. And I honestly, like, if you're going to play Reece Robson 80, I actually think you should play Blake or Api 80.
Yeah.
But if you're going to play Reece Robson to defend his absolute backside off and then bring someone else on, I can cop Blake Brayley, but it's just the injury that I'm like, if you're Api, you're sitting there going, so a guy that broke his arm and he's only 2 weeks back or 1 week back from a broken arm gets selected over me and I was selected. It just, again, mixed messaging.
I think as well with, when it comes to the mixed messaging and just the squad we've picked here, like, and I've seen a few comments online, man, like, decide you got to go all in. Last game was a decider for us. Last game was a decider as well.
Yep.
Let's be honest here. We did not want to have to go to Suncorp and do this.
Yep.
That was all in on that game. We conceded 44 points. We had an absolute shocker. But you also picked the guys that you picked. There must have been a reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, also though, like the two hookers we've gone, like me personally, I would have gone either Blake starts or Reece starts. Like I said to Kempy the other day, I think Reece is good in terms of like he gets a lot of crap for his lack of creativity. I think he's really good at being able to identify if there's one marker or a quick play the ball or it's time to run. Like you saw him set up a try on the weekend for the Chooks where he jumped out through a nice cutout ball. Like the opportunity presented itself to him and I think he's good at taking them.
Yeah, but also the tough thing for Reece Robson is he would be being told, shovel the ball to Cleary.
100%, for sure.
If he was told, play your game with Teddy, I guarantee you'd see some creativity.
For sure. And I think he's good at that. I do think, though, in terms of when your markers are set, your A's are set, and needing a guy to actually manipulate them, I don't think he's your guy. Like, I think Blake's better at that. I think Wade's better than that, better at that. And I think Api's better
unbelievable at that.
So if you are going to go with Reece and it's like, look, take the opportunities when they're there, get Nath good ball, tackle your dick off, and then we bring someone on, wouldn't it be Api? Like if it was Api game 2 and that was the role, like we all sat here. I think everyone except the fucking coaching staff sat here and thought that was the plan for him to come on and then he didn't. Why would it now be Blake? And I know they were like, oh, well, Blake did such a good job changing the game. Like they had 12 players. What are we talking about? Like,
look, I can Blake Brayley without any injuries or whatever. Sweet. No, it's just the fact that's dangerous to be going into. Anyway, so look, I'm still happy for Blake because I feel like he's worked his backside off to get this kind of recognition and he's done it for so many years.
Is there a world, Kempy, though, where had Blake not been injured, they might have dropped Reece. Blake might have started.
Maybe with Reece, and people disagree with this, but with Reece, I just like the fact that he is almost the opposite of the spot in the line. Yes. Whereas like Brayley's a gun defender, but he's not shotting blokes. No. He's chopping blokes. And so I like the fact in the first 20 minutes with the physicality of the game, Reece Robson can go after the game and they're not looking at the okay, there's a spot there, there's a spot there. All good. Okay, Paris, Mitch Barnett at 10, boys. Thoughts on this one? I think that, again, I'm just like confused. You know, certain blokes getting dropped for that's playing okay, and then certain blokes who've been, Barnett was okay at stages, I guess, in game 2. Pretty poor game 1. That's not his fault. He was underdone in game 1. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you put both Mitchells in the same basket. It's not their fault. They're underdone. It is what it is. That's part of footy. But yeah, once again, I don't know if there's anything Mitch Barnett could have done that would have seen him not selected as well. I think he was just about. I think you've seen throughout this series that he's a certainty, and this is where, if Mitch Barnett and Mitch Moses come into Game 3 and they repay the faith that's been given to them and they play their best football, unreal. It's like that. That'll take us a long way.
Yeah.
But I even wonder when those guys that have got the full backing and seemingly can't fall out of this side, when they look around at some of the other selections, even they'd have to be a bit uneasy about it, surely.
Yeah, fair. With Mitch Barnett, he was really good last week. He was pretty good, pretty solid against the Dolphins. But just in Origin this year, he hasn't set the world alight. But maybe this is the game where, look, I'm not too against the Mitch Barnett one. Like, I'm not fully against it
I
at
think
all.
the other thing that helps Barnett is that AFB hasn't exploded. Like, it's not like there's other guys there that are absolutely beating the door. There probably is outside of this squad, but within this squad there isn't.
I think Radley did game one though. Like, I think the thing that frustrates me about Barnett being there is like most people criticise the Radley pick initially. I thought that was one of the shining lights in Game 1. I thought Game 2, like he wasn't amazing, but I would prefer him there getting more minutes. I would prefer Cam Murray getting more minutes. If that means Barnett dropped out, then so be it, especially when he has been injured. Like, I hate that Radley's sitting there. He's probably one of our most Origin-built players, and now he's in the 20 jersey. Like, we already did it to Hamole last game. I know it's not the same thing, but, yeah, I would rather Radley be in the squad and say you start. Well, we should have Yo.
It fixed everything. We'll go over it. We'll get to it.
They kind of link into each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
They do.
Realistically, Barnett being in the side, and it's not Barnett's fault, but he's the problem as to why Isaiah doesn't play the front row for me.
Okay, well, let's just get into it then. We'll get into it now, and we'll get to the edge back rowers. Isaiah has been named at 13. What frustrates the hell out of me is you fix so much by putting Isaiah at 10, Payne Haas at 8, and Cam Murray at 13. Like, it changes your whole rotation. It gives you so many more options to do what you want to do. For the life of me, I am shocked beyond belief that is still the case. Like, I genuinely, this is the most shocking call of the lot. Even more shocking than the Toto one.
I'm almost at a point with this decision that when I saw it first, it actually didn't frustrate me anymore because I fully expected it.
Fuck.
I didn't think there was a chance it was going to change. And I think I'm sort of taking out my anger on other selections in this side, but this is the most obvious one, I think, by a distance. Maybe give or take Toto, to be fair. But you know what? Toto, I don't agree with it, but I can understand his logic. I think it's wrong,
kicking
but
to
I can
him.
understand it.
Yeah.
I still haven't had an explanation as to why Cam Murray doesn't start this game.
What are they watching? Like, Kemba, you said before about Robson, first 20, like shot and blokes and how good that is. Imagine having 13 out there who cleans up as much as Murray does.
Imagine the line speed with Robson and Murray next to each other.
And Yo's your front rower. And Payne Haas. Like, where would they score? Where would they score outside of, like, if they beat us in the air or something like that? Like, in that first 20 minutes, like, you're almost guaranteeing that you're going to be at least in the contest around the middle, if not absolutely dominating it. Like, there's a world where we just flood through them. Like, it brings Teddy into the game more. Like, that all of a sudden, that selection makes way more sense. Like,
Gives Cleary quick play the balls through the middle.
100%. Like, it's so, especially like even having a guy like Bradman Best come in and how good he is at his yardage carries and like the speed you're able to generate with the ball. Like, there's 0 sense for it. 0.
Did we have a quote, Matty, about Laurie Daly about the team? Can you read that out?
I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but I listened to basically at the moment it's going to be 1-17, but he definitely left the door wide open for positional changes. He was more talking about the edges though, in respect to like that was the question that was asked, really like Liam Martin, Hamole, etc. But he 100% left the door open for positional changes.
Let's keep that fucking door open. Let's put a door stop in and just let's run through the door.
Even that door being open, it's like
so stupid.
Fuck, like hot tip. Queensland will prepare for you to make the right decision, just in case you do.
It's bizarre. It's like, again, I understand that winning is the most important thing as a Blues coach. Like, that's the most important thing. But the messaging to your audience should also be a part of the gig. And like this idea that we're going to do a bait and switch and like Camo's going to come in, like you've just like fooled the state. Oh, what? Holy shit. What a great call. It's like, What?
Yeah, as if every other person except for the coaching staff isn't watching the game thinking, fuck, he should start.
Yeah, like,
you're not
it's-
fooling anyone.
it's honestly
I think
almost
it'll
like-
annoy me more if he does.
That's
that
what
at
I'm
this
saying. It's
point,
almost
yeah.
like intentional rage bait.
Yeah.
Like intentionally, you know what? I want to put it aside. It's going to piss off the entire state. But then I'm going to, don't worry, boys, I got you. Everyone's going to be like, okay, bro.
Oh, thanks for coming to the party. But also, like, it was well documented back in the day that Wally Lewis and the Queensland side used to sit there nervous, waiting for where Brett Kenny to be named. And when they'd name him at centre, they'd all be so happy. And, like, that used to be stupid that they do that. But at least he was still on the fucking field. Like, there was a point in time where we used to pick Murray in the back row. And I used to think, fuck, like, surely you understand that he's your 13. Now he's not even on the field for half the game. Like, it's just absurd.
That's the moment that I was thinking about it the other day when I'm Queensland, it's 30 minutes to go and I'm in an origin. I would get such a lift when I see Cameron Murray walk off that field.
Yeah, 100%.
Whole thing
I
changed.
would, it would change everything.
Mate, 100%. 100%. Okay. Edges, don't mind it. However, OLAKAU'ATU would be starting for me. I'd be bringing OLAKAU'ATU off the bench. I'd bring in Liam Martin off the bench. I'd be saying to OLAKAU'ATU, mate, I want you to win us this first 20 minutes. And as soon as you are a bit gassed, put your hand up. We'll get Liam Martin on. I'll be saying the same to Liam Martin. You go as hard as you can, and we've got you covered on the edge here.
I could go either way here. I'm sort of okay with what they've done, having Liam Martin start. I would imagine Liam Martin, goes out for the first 30-odd minutes or so. I think they'll probably put OLAKAU'ATU on after that, and then I think you sort of gain Liam Martin. That's where I think they're going to almost use Liam Martin in that Victor Radley kind of role in the second half. I think that's what the game plan will be, which I'm okay with. I can get around that. I think, and I know, Kemby, you might be able to talk more about it as a player. I think it's interesting. Like, we've done this with players before, like OLAKAU'ATU, who's a starter every single week, bringing him off the bench and bringing him on. I would assume just before halftime, maybe just after halftime. Like, it just changes how he gets into the game. That'll be a challenge for OLAKAU'ATU. I think he can do it though.
But who do you have more faith? This is why I go OLAKAU'ATU at starting. Who do you have more faith that will handle coming off the bench better? Liam Martin or OLAKAU'ATU?
Well, Martin.
Martin, I think. I
sure.
just think he's got way more experience in the Origin arena. He can play anywhere in the forward pack, whereas in the forwards, would I want OLAKAU'ATU in the middle in this current climate of really fast footy? Maybe not. That's why I would.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think
Whereas OLAKAU'ATU coming into the game, he's such a unique type player. I wonder whether he'll feel comfortable demanding the ball, and it's just and maybe he will. I'm just saying it's more likely Martin would handle it.
I'm pretty confident though that Hamole, like, there's zero chance in my opinion that Hamole plays through the middle. I think he comes on the back row and they move Martin, or Martin comes off for a break then comes on through the middle.
Yeah, I don't think they'll play him through the middle at all. But I'm just saying, like,
In terms of handling the bench,
if you're on the bench and I don't know, two middles just get HIA'd immediately, you've got Martin sitting there. You go, boom, straight in. Whereas, like, if I understand that you could go OLAKAU'ATU get brought on and Martin gets brought into the middle, but I'd rather probably a fresh Martin if there is a HIA through the middle to just go, mate, I need you to go skits through the middle.
I don't mind though, like Hamole coming on off the bench if he does handle the challenge. Like, I spoke before about Nanai coming in, and as good as he was on the weekend, and defensively, like, that's always been a concern around him. Like, I don't mind the idea of Hamole coming on, regardless of who the back rower is at the time for Queensland. I think under fatigue, he can just absolutely just go bananas for like 20 minutes or 25 minutes. I don't mind the optics of it, especially watching Liam Martin on the weekend. Like, his kick chase and just like those effort areas that he brings. Not that Hamole doesn't. At least with this decision this time round, it looks like they've adjusted more from game one than what I expected.
I just know as a Queenslander, if I look across an OLAKAU'ATU starting, I'm like, oh fuck, like
100%.
that. Like, I just think that if you win that first 20 minutes up at Suncorp with him just absolutely barnstorming, and then you're saying to him, go as hard as you can, don't worry about fatigue, and then Martin comes on fresh, like, I just think that's a better comment. But look, I'm either or.
Yeah, I think Liam Martin's got that element to him as well, though. Like, he might not be as imposing and everything, but he's, done it on big stages on numerous occasions where he's stood and delivered. So I'm okay. And I think that's what makes sense with Radley not being in the side. Is that Liam Martin goes out early and then he comes off and then he gets played through the middle.
It might be my optimism talking, but on your point before, Kempy, like, I think if Hamole starts, you could also, from a Queensland point of view, being like, if we weather this storm and then Martin comes on, even though Martin's a gun, I feel like it's a little bit more threatening. Like, Martin can still win that first 20 for us, in my opinion. If Hamole's then coming on, like, it's just a way bigger challenge. Like, the 2 tries he scored on the weekend, like, you're watching it and you're going, how the fuck would you stop that? So him coming on, again, though, that could just be optimism talking.
Okay, Blake Brayley, Ethan Strange at 18. Again, I cannot understand why you need to carry a centre/winger on the bench when you've got Ethan Strange already there. I don't get it. I think it's a waste of an interchange. I understand. Like the thing is like if a centre gets injured, or like HI'd or whatever, you can either move players into centre. You can bring Strange onto centre and move a centre out to wing.
So what would you do instead, though?
What do you mean?
Well,
I'd bring in an extra. I'd put Victor Radley there or another forward.
yeah, but okay. So if you have Victor Radley there,
Or
what are you
you
going
can-
to do then? Like, what's the point of having AFB there then?
Well, like AFB wouldn't be my squad, but
But then who would you replace AFB with?
so I would go Victor Radley there, and I would go Ethan Strange, and if you've still got him to break the glass, if you need to,
Yeah.
he can cover number 6 all the way out to centre, and then obviously your wing gets covered. But Victor Radley, I'd also bring on what if the game is really fast and I want another Cam Murray version out there? I just think it gives you more. Whereas at the moment, you've got Cam Murray that will go on, Adam Fanua-Blake. If they need, I just wouldn't have Adam Fanua-Blake there. But I guess if they need the big bopper, I just think it gives you more options with Victor Radley there.
I think with a 6-man bench, when you've got those two guys you're not going to use, I think it makes sense to have a genuine outside back.
Okay, for example, last time, what happened last game? So Strange came on, he started defending out in the centres.
No, he played. He was on at lock initially.
Yep, and then he moved out to the centres.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? It's been fixed because OLAKAU'ATU's there. Okay, apologies.
It
Last,
tells-
I'm thinking of game 2. They didn't have an edge back row on the bench. And if you had Strange as the outside back cover, you could have had an edge back row on the bench to cover.
I don't like having Strange as the outside back cover. When you can have two extra spots, I think you pick a genuine outside back to
Yeah,
cover that.
apologies. If the bench was the same as last time without an edge back, a specialist edge back row on the bench, that's when I go use Ethan Strange as a centre cover and have OLAKAU'ATU, because OLAKAU'ATU was 20th man last time, have OLAKAU'ATU as 19th man.
Yeah.
But I don't think he is there as cover. Like obviously by default he is, but like we saw them use him. He came on very briefly at lock before they moved him. Once Staggs got sin binned, but that's where to me like can be. I'd be sort of more in your. But I think we need a big bopper. Like I don't think we need a big guy. Like I think if anything, that's exactly what Queensland want. Like they got guys like Tino and Lindsay. Like we got Payne. He's a big bopper. He can play massive minutes. I'd be fully leaning into that quick style of having another Radley on there because I'm almost completely confident that Strange is going to get used regardless. I don't think he's going to be one of the guys at the end of the game that is sitting there not being used.
See, I wouldn't use Strange at all. I'd be using Blake Brayley in that as that interchange
Well, I'd be potentially
and getting
using
more
both
minutes
of
into
them.
Cam Murray.
I mean, to be fair, the whole thing changes if he's at 5'8", like he's meant to be. But
Yeah.
that's where I just got no idea how he's going to use it because he didn't use Appy last time. We were all like, you would have bet your life on it that Appy was going to get on. So.
Yeah, I would be keeping Ethan Strange as a break the glass guy. I as in like I don't know, we're down by $1 million or something like that, and him and Blake go on or something. But or a guy that can cover injury. But at the moment, I'd be using if you're going to have Adam there, I'd be using Adam. I'd be using Blake Brayley, obviously Cam Murray, and obviously OLAKAU'ATU.
Who are your two guys that you think, provided there's no big injuries or anything, who are the two that you don't think get used? Get a
Aden
guess.
and Kohler.
Aden and Kohler.
I reckon there's a very good chance that's how it plays
They're the
out.
two. Yeah, I agree.
See, I would probably have maybe Mitch on the bench and Aden for me. I don't know if it's had the best year at the moment. It's still an incredible forward, and I'd be using Mitch Barnett to try and go with because there was a period there when we had a bunch of big boppers on and you had small players on, and we just rolled straight through you. This is like just before half time. See, that's where I think like guys like a big bopper or Barnett, or if you want to go AFB can come on and kind of withstand that physicality.
I think AFB has struggled with the pace so far in this series, and I don't think you'll get a faster pace game than up there at Suncorp.
Would you go Mitch Barnett then as a 15 and have, obviously you'd start Cameron, blah, blah, we get all that, but.
Yeah, I could wear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I could too, or like, I know he's injured now, but Jackson Ford,
Yeah.
he's another guy.
What about just like Radley
Keon.
fit that mold? Like assuming, you got Keon there too, but assuming that like
I wouldn't mind Keon at 15 right
I
now.
can't believe Keon.
he hasn't even been spoken about.
I know I keep getting told he's injured, but I watch him every week and I'm like, he could handle this.
But so are 5 of our players.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
he hasn't got a
fucking
play
talk about it.
yes.
He was injured in May. It's July in 2 days, so
Yeah.
he's not injured anymore.
He's injured, and you got like blokes getting until Monday to fucking prove their
Like,
fitness.
you
and
remember,
shit.
like he was he made the Kangaroos side. and we're not talking about him for Origin.
And also, he came on and played unbelievably on the edge for the Blues when he did have his debut.
Yeah, he also has scored a couple of tries exactly how Barnett scored in game 2 off Murray tipping on, which would be like, again, if we're that adamant that Murray has to start off the bench, if he was coming on with Keon, nice combo there from club, makes sense. Like, yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Positive.
Alrighty. Okay, just to wrap it up, TLDR, this team absolutely can go up there and win it for sure. Hopefully the rotations are used correctly. I do think, or even if they win, it's still it'll be painting over the cracks in regards to, as a Blue going into 2027, like what does it take to get selected? You know, what is the culture that we're building? Do you get a bit of grace if you are a senior player in the side? Do you not get grace? Does injuries matter? Do they, not matter? Does experience in big games matter? Does it not matter? Like those are all questions that I think any Blues fan, you would ask them and they would say, I'm actually not sure. I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, and I think there's a number of Blues players would also say, I'm not entirely sure.
But if the plan works, which clearly is going to be when we get in good ball, we kick to Bostock, we kick to Nwanga to Tuase and try and score there. We use our physicality of Bradman Best, big game player. There is a path to victory with this squad. There is a path to victory with this
for sure.
squad.
And like obviously as Blues fans, we're fully behind the boys who want them to win. If we do win, though, I do think it will be the most bizarre series of all time in terms of how it's covered afterwards and the fallout. Like,
and then game 1 and everything like that. Yeah, it'd be strange.
If you win, like, everyone sits down and goes, yeah, obviously, it was a fucking basket case the whole time. If we do pull an upset,
It'd be incredible.
well, like, how's it get covered, though? Because the whole vibe is, it's fucking chaos.
It's
so,
a weird vibe.
Yeah.
It is insane, like when we're talking about this side and how they're going to play, and that they've picked players so hopefully they can kick the wings to score tries. Like you look through that side, you might have the second best fullback of all time. You might have the second best halfback of all time. You might have the two of the best lock forwards I've ever seen in my
The greatest
entire
front row of
life.
all
You've got
time.
the greatest front row of all time. Like
You don't have the
you did
greatest
have the
winger.
greatest winger, but we didn't pick him. It is like
And then you say Critter's probably one of the better of his generation, one of the best centers.
and could be the greatest centre of all time by the end of his career, potentially,
Maybe.
on this trajectory.
it's unbelievable to think how difficult it's been made.
Yeah, true, very true. Whereas like it's a great point you make because you look at this Queensland side and it's like
I don't want to make this point.
let's
gonna hurt
make this
people.
point. Who's the greatest of all time in this side?
Corey Horsburgh, obviously. The outside. I mean, I think Harry Grant's going to be in that conversation by the end of it, but
Okay, you could argue, second greatest hooker of all time.
maybe like a Walsh. I think Carrigan will be remembered quite fondly by the time it's done. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
It's jarring.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Munster.
Okay, guys. It's State of Origin time, one of the best times of the year. Is it the same plan? This is all proudly brought to you by Jim Beam. Is it the same plan? You're watching upstairs?
Yeah, we're watching upstairs. Don't know if I have the headgears on.
Maybe that was a curse
Weird
last time.
quickly.
with headgear.
We
Yeah.
haven't spoken about that. I mean, it's hard. It was a good half. Then it wasn't.
Then it heaps wasn't.
It heaps wasn't. Yeah,
It really wasn't.
it really wasn't. But,
Oh, listen, Jim Beam knows in every group there's always one person who flakes at the last second, the person who says they'll be there but then cancels because something's come up or they've dislocated their pinky finger. Jim Beam are on a mission to solve the cultural epidemic that is flaking on your mate. Who's most likely to flake?
Brian
You
Tollo.
boys.
Is there a world that we need to dislocate our pinky fingers before game 3 and just play through and show that we're made of the right stuff?
Wow. If you were to film dislocating
probably
your
just
finger.
one of us will do. If you're happy to sort of take one for the side.
Send the rookie in.
Okay, don't let them remain a flake. Remind them footy's best enjoyed with mates and Jim Beam. So head over Jim Beam AU to see how you could best enjoy the footy together. A massive thank you to Jim Beam for getting around the podcast. Hopefully it's a victory, Jim Beam, on the rocks after Queensland play. Okay, boys. Queensland side, Kurt Catewell, Patrick Carrigan. Actually, you know what? We'll read the likely side because it's otherwise it is.
It's funny how they can pick a squad and not name any players, and it's still easier
I hate
to
this.
follow.
I don't know why they do this.
It's still easier to follow than ours, even though ours was named 1 through 20.
I still hate that they
Yeah,
released
I
somebody.
hate it.
I
Yeah,
I
hate
find
it.
it bizarre that we did it for game 2. They named a side, and then for this game, they're naming a. Like, I cannot believe there isn't just a rule from the NRL. Name your fucking team.
Unless
Change as much as you want. later. Name your team.
Yeah, you can change it. Yeah, of course.
Do whatever
Yeah.
you want. Name a team.
Yeah, 100%. Agreed. I hate it. All right, likely side. KP at fullback. Cobbo on the wing. Toya. Cobbo's form has just been like, what the
So
fuck?
gone.
Okay, Toya at centre. The Hammer at 4. Jojo Fafita at 5. Geez, his next contract going to be like triple what his contract is now.
Yeah.
Cam Munster at 6. Sam Walker at 7. Flegler at 8. Harry Grant at 9. Tino at 10. Britton Nikora at 11. Kurt Capewell at 12. Ruben Cotter at 13. Max Plath at 14. Paddy Carrigan at 15. Nanai maybe at 16. Trent Lioro at 17. Reece Walsh 18. Tal Lungi at 19. And Corey Horsburgh at 20. To be honest, like, is there that much to talk about? Not really, because it's essentially the same side outside of Carrigan, Nanai. Now, Collins, he's failed his HIA, so he can't be selected or play. But I tell you what, watching Nanai play on the weekend, there's no doubt in my mind he got a call from Billy Slater and said, listen, bruh, I want you to rip. And fucking oath he ripped.
And rip he did. He was fantastic. I do feel a little bit sorry for Fino Fuiaki. Obviously, he hasn't played huge minutes or anything, but he's been fantastic.
He was pretty good when he
this year.
came on too.
He was, yeah. But I think it is, Nanai, he is proven on this stage. And, I think he's one of those players, Queensland players anyway, that regardless of what he's doing in clubland, you pick him and he gets the job done. The fact that he had that game on the weekend against none other than Penrith, you just couldn't leave him out. He was tremendous. I also thought the week before that, they lost, but he scored a cracking individual try that there's probably only a handful of back rowers that can score that in the game. So, to see him there, it didn't overly shock me. I like seeing Corey Horsburgh in there.
Yeah,
I think he'll
interesting.
play, but I like it. I think Corey Horsburgh is so underrated.
Yep. Maybe even like a bit of a locker room pick as well. Got a whole lot of energy, a lot of chat.
If Pat Carrigan doesn't end up playing and Corey Horsburgh plays that role, if I was you, I'd be fully confident in him.
I love that Paddy Carrigan's back. Jeez. If he's fully fit, ready to go, I just
Massive,
love him in Origin.
What do you like? As you just said, if he's fully fit, whether he is or not, we'll wait and see. I kind of think if he's not 100, obviously if he's not ready to go, he won't play.
Yeah.
But even if he does play and he's not at his absolute best, I assume they would just keep him in that side for that sort of closer role that they tend to have. They used Lero in that role game 1. They used Fino Fuiaki game 2.
And also his leadership as well. Like
I think it matters having him.
Yeah, he probably will be. I mean, he may be captain of this state if Munster retires.
I think he will be. Yeah.
Yeah. So like there is.
I think Harry Grant will be, personally.
We'll
I
see.
reckon it'll be close.
Yeah, it'll be close because remember Harry Grant was captain of Storm, but Munster was captain of.
For sure. But I think if Grant's like your hooker and like the way they use Carrigan at the moment, like off the bench and that, I mean, if you start him for the first 20, I think it'll be Grant. But yeah, I mean, Carrigan's going to be
It'll be
second
those
player
two.
regardless.
Well, I'll tell you what. Before game 1, there was one bloke in the huddle that was doing these ones, and everyone was listening. It was Paddy Carrigan.
Pat
Carrigan.
Carrigan.
Man bun too. Not
Man
off-
bun. Yeah, first bloke ever to win a Wally Lewis medal with a man bun, which is
Might be the
impressive
only
stuff.
one, to be honest.
Yeah. You know what? If he wins it ever again, I hope he just like puts it up in a man bun as he's accepting it, just to fucking
Just
rub
like
it in.
redoes his hair.
Yeah,
as he's
redoes his
doing
hair
it.
a little bit.
Bad.
I will say, I know he's out because obviously HIA, but sometimes you don't know what you got till it's gone. It stings me Collins is in this side.
Yeah, I said last week that Collins is the number 1 player as far as when a team's named and he's there, it doesn't concern me, but he hurts me the most during the game. It does look weird him not being there.
And like, I just think there's a big moment that he was supposed to have in game 3 at Suncorp that he's now not going to have.
Yeah, he's a decider guy. And I think you only get a handful of decider guys. And, Rube, to your point, as much as he isn't someone that you sort of look for on the team shed initially, you always look back on a game and go, fucking Lindsay Collins.
Like, yeah. And so it's like, it definitely hurt me when I was like, oh shit, he's not on this side. That big moment that he has, we don't get that. We don't get it. Like, for example, like I know the game was nearly done already or whatever, but his try game 2, that was it. Iced it. Like that was pretty much end of the game. So that sucks. Like how good is it for guys like Max Plath who like, this is his debut year and you just sit there, yeah, of course he's picked. Like, yeah, he's in the Origin squad. Of course he is. He's played fucking 2 games. I mean, he's just gone straight in like it's all good.
25 to come.
Yes, absolutely. Reece Walsh in there again. I actually didn't like. I liked his effort against the Roosters. I thought he was much more trying to make it happen. Now, granted, still wasn't a great game. I mean, effort was really there for the Broncos, but I like Walsh in there, especially if Dearden is not good to go. To my understanding, he is not good to go. So yeah, Walshy. Everything else, like I don't know. There's not what is there to say?
Yeah, I think it all just comes down to whether Paddy Carrigan is available or not.
Yep.
I think if he is, he's on the bench. If he's not, Corey Horsburgh comes in. I think
Yep.
It's that simple, right?
I will say, that, like, really, the only thing, and I don't think they'll fall into this trap, because I do think internally Billy's probably told him that this is his last year as coach. They just can't be complacent. Don't be reading the news about how terrible the Blues are and they've got no chance, and there's all these journos talking like the series is already over. The series is absolutely not over, and you are still coming up against, as you said, Rue, the greatest front row of all time, one of the greatest sevens of all time, one of the best of his generation in critter. Like across the board, there are some greats still in this side.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You know, Isaiah Yeo, arguably one of the best 13s of all time. Cam Murray, one of the best 13s of all time.
Yeah.
You are still facing some fucking absolutely insane players. So.
And even if it wasn't, the Blues didn't have that many stars, as soon as you do get complacent in Origin,
it's going to
pull your pants down. It'll get you.
So that is their biggest hurdle. Don't read the fucking news or anything like that. It is a huge game,
You mentioned there, and I agree with you, I think this will be Slater's last game coaching. Is there a world where this is internally Cam Munster's swan song?
Yeah, I think we spoke about this. I think so.
I think it is.
I think so, and I think that, I think he'd be crazy not to go out in a high. Like although his Origin resume can never be questioned, there is just something about going out a winner that is
matters.
special,
For sure.
Just like if let's say, for example, he comes back next year and he plays really poorly, people looking for reasons to doubt his career will just use that all the time. Well, look how bad he was at the end, blah, blah. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot to play for the Maroon side, for sure. All righty, and before we get into the review, guys, Yui Verified. Yui have this new initiative called Yuri Origin Verified, which puts New South Wales and Queensland fans through a series of verification challenges. Once you do these challenges, you're given a fan status, which essentially is a tier. We've all done it. So here are the tiers of what, this is the tiers that you can get. The Immortal, the Diehard, the Loyalist, the Casual, and the Bandwagoner. Now, the good news for me is I got the Diehard. Because I get it. I get rugby league. What did you get?
Sitting at Loyalist at the moment. Like, I'm still in the process though, Kempy. So I've got a quick 10 out of 10 under my belt, and it's like, do you want to go more? And I've just been too busy lately trying to save our state.
Trying to save the state, okay. What are you, Matty?
Well, I'm a diehard as well, but I went into this a little bit arrogant. I thought I'd just get all the answers right and get it straight away. I actually had a second crack at it, but yeah, I'm still at the diehard stage.
Still at the diehard stage. The good news is everyone can get Yui Verified, and you can all go up against your mates. Head to nrl.com/verified to complete it. It doesn't take long, and you'll be given your official fan status. Across the series, a live New South Wales versus Queensland leaderboard will track which state has the most verified fans and with participants competing to unlock exclusive rewards, prizes, and arguably more importantly, bragging rights. One of the prizes is a trip to Auckland, State of Origin next year. There is more to be won, so head to nrl.com/verified today. But as I said, you have a chance. One of the prizes is a trip to Auckland for the State of Origin, which will be crazy. And tickets will be so hard to get. So go to nrl.com/verified. It's free to sign up, guys. Go through it all. It's actually really, really fun. And yeah, it's like, it takes you, 5-10 minutes, and you have a chance to get a trip to the Auckland State of Origin. It's the first time ever in New Zealand. The first time, not ever out of this country. We've done one before, have we?
No. First time
First time ever out of this country.
Well, okay. To be fair, they did have a State of Origin exhibition game in California.
Yeah, I thought that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So this is historic, and you could literally have a chance to go there. So free to do, guys. Takes 10 minutes. It's a bit of fun, and you have a chance to go to Auckland State of Origin next year. Okay, let's get into it. Round 17 review. Now, if you want a deeper dive, guys, we actually all three of us spoke about the Rabbitohs versus Eels on Friday. And I will say, guys, some teams are going to get much, much shorter this week because we've already sat on the Origin chat. So apologies for that, but it's just, unfortunately, the pod can only go for so long. As you can see, the great Garino's already left us, which breaks our heart.
It does.
Okay, Rabbitohs defeat the Eels 32-12. Look, I thought Rabbitohs good win. It's tough against a team like the Eels where you don't know how good they're actually going at times. I will say from an Eels perspective, really disappointing because they fought really hard. They started the game poorly, made a bunch of errors, fought really hard to get back into it, and then that second half they just gave themselves no opportunity. I thought Cody Walker probably had his best game of the year, or at least close to. Thoughts on the game, mate?
Yeah, I think the Rabbitohs were pretty patient, but they dominated quite early with field position, and they looked really on top. The Eels did a great job sort of fighting their way back into it, but I do think that, errors just shot themselves in the foot, like as we sort of spoke about on Friday. Like a couple of times they've worked so hard at getting a good ball, games sort of back in the balance, and bad passes from dummy half. Like it wasn't always Talon to Silver either. Like sometimes there was like a centre or a winger coming back from an edge, but just letting South off the hook a fair bit. So I think they would be pretty frustrated because we've sort of spoken for the last month about how brave and tough Para has been, and I think they're sort of building a bit of an ID an identity around that. So I think they still fit that mold, but that was probably a game that at a certain point they definitely could have won. They just let themselves, or they let South off the hook rather.
Yeah, and with the Eels too. First of all, shout out to Riles and the two other people that helped that young lady out of the car.
Yeah.
Big lift from all of them. Riles, including the other people that were there helping. But yeah, I think the tough thing is that, it's bizarre to talk about because he just got selected for Origin, but that 3 in defence from Moses, like, I can't recall. Like, their 3 in defence has been a problem all year long, like, genuinely, like, both sides, whether it's Pezzett, Volkman, or Moses. But, yeah, those 2 tries are, like, very uncharacteristic of Mitchell Moses.
Yeah, and I think him and Kelmer, very concerning, that combination. And I think a couple times there, like, you could see, like, on both Cody's tries, like,
He just ran a line.
You could see he was going to score before he'd even gotten to the line. You know what I mean? Which is pretty concerning. But yeah, again, I think Para holistically they're on the up. Like, I really liked. I actually thought Luca Moretti had a few nice moments in this game. He looked good in space, especially for a middle. Him and Volkman linking up as well. Like obviously they played footy at school together, so that was cool to see. But I think Katonga, like the ceiling is obviously so high there. Yeah, it's not going to be this year, but I do like what they're doing, and given that they're still missing a fair few, and even like the guys they're not missing, like Moses, they've been missing him for a while. He still looks clearly underdone in this game, and despite New South Wales opting with him, 5 missed tackles, 4 errors, like he's nowhere near what we know he can be. So, yeah, I think they're still being pretty brave at the moment, to be fair.
Yeah. In regards to some positives, I guess I know defensively they can still be a hit or miss, but I actually think Brian Kelly might have found his position on the wing.
Big time.
Like I think he's been pretty decent last couple of games.
100%. I think, especially in terms of reads, I think he's definitely better there. Still missed 4 tackles, but I mean, he was great with the ball. Scored one of their tries, so he was definitely a bit of a shining light. I also think, obviously, Iongi still building nicely. I just, it's hard. Like that, they're missing a couple of middles, and you can tell that.
Yep.
What do they do in terms of their 3 in defence? Like,
well, Mitch Moses is notoriously really good defender.
That's what I mean.
So I don't know what's happening there. Volkman, relatively young, so there is an opportunity to improve. There has been quite a lot of negative chat around the Eels. The thing you can't escape is like, bro, they have been decimated with injury. Decimated with injury. So it's very hard to be too negative on them. And I've seen quite a lot of Eels fans like, look at our recruitment and, who's coming to the club or whatever. But, we haven't had an opportunity to see them at full strength to really judge how good their recruitment's been, because at full strength, maybe they don't need to recruit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and even like with Volkman, his defence is a concern. Like, his effort's not a concern. Like, there was a point in time there where David Fafita, he went to make a tackle on him around the midfield, and David dragged him for about 10 metres with him hanging off him. He's just a smaller body. He gives it a crack. What I find fascinating with the Eels, though, like, the talk in the preseason and the back end of last year was about Jonah Pezzett coming to the club, and a lot of people said it's quite silly to have a guy come in for 1 year before he then goes off. It's been a bit of a non-event. Like, he's not even playing.
Bizarre. So, Broncos, there's even a report coming out recently, Broncos are starting to get a bit, what's doing there.
Yeah.
Now, he has had injuries this year, but, even that, for example, brought to the club to pair with Moses to try to take him to a new level and have a good halves pairing, but, that hasn't worked out either. So, they could have, heading into this year, I'm sure they thought most games will be played with Pezzett, who was from the Storm, and Moses. They haven't even had the luxury of that.
Yeah, well, I think, but yeah, there were injuries initially, but the reality is, I don't think that's their first choice now. And it's interesting from the Broncos' point of view, and it's hard for Jonah because he's obviously got a very good support team around him in terms of his management and stuff like that, and it was a very good deal for him optically from the start. But the reality was he'd had a handful of games for the Storm. He looked solid. He obviously had a lot of potential. From the Broncos' point of view at the time, you're probably signing a guy thinking, well, he's probably going to get a full season of NRL under his belt at a building club, and then he's going to come in to play. Like, given what's happened and unfolded at the Broncos, like, there's no way I'd be opting for him as my 7, expecting him more to steer the ship next year. Like they've just
especially they lost Kobe Black because of it.
Crazy.
Like Kobe Black has come out and basically said that's why I left.
Which is like, absurd. Like that's going to age terribly for them, I think. But yeah, I think the if I was an Eels fan, I get being frustrated still, but I think there's a lot to like there. And I think when they do get people on the park, I'd also be looking at like Lorenzo's still very young, so he's got time. I think he's going to be someone who's going to want to play NRL sooner rather than later.
Yep. I
think Volkman might be your guy.
Well, look, he's still 23 or 24. Like he's not, we're just too impatient with our halves for sure. And that goes even for Pezzett. Maybe he's just having a bit of a down year and he'll be good next year. But I think if Eels fans, I'm with you, mate. I get why Eels fans are frustrated. I really do. But I just give him like 4 to 6 weeks with a full strength side.
Yeah.
Then judge where the club's at. Now, if they go into next year and the same injuries happen all over again, then different questions need to be asked. It's like, what are these guys doing at training? Like what's going on? But I just think, look at last year. If Moses is in the side for most of the year, they probably make the 8. Just this year, it's just been too hard.
They've also got, Riley Smith. He's running around in cup at the moment.
See, I don't understand that one. That's that one that I have to question. Like, look, Talon Silver, a lot of talent, and he has big moments in games where you're just like, wow. But I just think like when the chips are down, surely Riley Smith's the type of player you want on the field or at least in the squad each week.
I think there's still a massive part of it. And this is where it's hard because when Mitch Moses has been unavailable, like Ronald is a run-first sort of player. That's probably where his greatest strength is, and his ball playing comes off the back of being such a threat with the ball himself. So when Moses isn't there, Talon being in the 9 creatively, he's obviously he's more of a controlling 9. But you'd think when Mitch is back in the side, if you want him getting more footy and being the guy who's controlling them, makes more sense to have Riley Smith sort of at least play a shared role.
Even like the first 30 of a game, and then you bring on Talon Silver for it when they're fatigued in the middle there.
Yeah, like I thought defensively at the start of the year, like he was very good for their middle. So it's interesting watching that because I get them leaning into the Talon thing if that's what they want to do, but it's also funny watching like him and Moses clash a lot.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe that is something that you can sort of work through.
That's one thing. I spoke about this, I think, on maybe Saturday on SEN, but it's just like I've never seen a season where Mitchell Moses has been demanding the ball and not got it as much as this season. And it's just like maybe Riles is trying to create a team that doesn't rely so heavily on Moses, but almost be careful what you wish for. I don't think they've got the roster at this stage on paper to not have to rely on Mitch Moses.
Yeah.
And it's been bizarre to see players go away from him when it's like, we're talking about Mitch Moses, the most dominant ball-playing 7 in the comp, essentially. Like, when you talk about, like, dominant, give me the ball right now, you could argue he's number 1.
Yeah, for sure. And especially, like, one thing that I think has been a positive when Moses hasn't been there is when Dylan Walker's in the side and the way that they use him. And I don't know if this is a Riles thing or if they've got an attacking coach who's more behind it, but the way that they use Dill Walker, and they do that one specific thing where one of the halves, normally Ronald, will come from the short side late, and it looks like they're going to do a long shift where Dill is the ball player, and then he becomes a lead runner off 9, and he provides them with a lot of options in terms of their creativity there, and I think that's something too. Like I spoke about Moretti before. Obviously, he's struggled a bit with injuries and just form generally off the back of that. But if you go back and you watch him when he was sort of coming through, he was sort of known for being a bit flary and offloads and things like that. So I'd love to see them lean more into his ball playing too. But if I'm looking at things that they can fix right now, I'd be looking at the Kelmer Moses
situation
combo, and potentially exploring some alternatives with their middles in terms of just shoring it up a little bit.
Yeah, the problem is they fucking got no.
They don't have them.
Yeah, they don't have
right.
them. Yeah. Okay, on to the Rabbitohs. Now, as I said, guys, you can go on to our Friday show to see us talk about it. But look, the big question is look, I thought Fafita looked engaged, which is what they need. Tallis Duncan, absolutely phenomenal. I think he'll be in the Blues extended squad at the very least next year. I guess the biggest question is like we saw how good they are with Brandon Smith at 9. I just need to see their spine injury-free, playing week in, week out. They cannot afford another hiccup when it comes to a key player in their spine being injured heading into final series. That's everything else at full strength. This Rabbitoh side, tick, 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 tick. I just need to see this spine play more together.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're a side where, when you get the best of them, like, again, no Latrell the other night. You obviously have Tallis who can go in there and do a job at centre. I do wonder with Tallis, though, as great as he is, every time you ask him to do a job wherever, is that going to hold back his development in terms of where you want him as a side? Because I think he's good enough that he's going to be the kind of guy, whether it is as a option as a middle, or I think long-term you'll see him, if he stays at South, and I'm sure they're keen to keep him, as Cam Murray sort of gets older, I think he can sort of take over that role as a middle. That's always what he played coming through. But even in the meantime, if it is as an edge back rower, like I personally, even though Ewan Aitken's been great, scored a good try off Cheese on Thursday night, like I think Tallis is better. I think he has more upside. I think defensively he's more aggressive. So while he can do a job for you elsewhere, at what point do you start going, no, it's David Fafita and it's Tallis.
Yep. And build those combinations.
And you build those combos.
Because it's not just attack, it's also defense. Your foreman, it matters who he is.
100%.
I thought Keon was outstanding. I really did. And I think if you're a Dragons fan, you must just be sitting there going, fuck. And I actually think, like, the more I look at this squad, Keon's become the main man in the middle, outside of Cam Murray, obviously. Like, I actually think you're going to miss him quite a bit next year, Matty.
Sorry, I was just editing. Big time. And like, obviously, it's been alleviated by the fact that we signed
Payne Haas.
Yeah.
I could just fucking remember. I'd take that back.
But you know what? But like, it's not a wrong point. We're still going to miss Keon. Like, Keon's been enormous for us in the past, like pretty much 4 years.
Yeah.
It's just probably not fluke, but like we got lucky. Put it that way. We lost Keon and we got Payne Haas.
Yeah, fair. I mean, if you're Dragons fan, though, I'd be sitting there stoked as anything because I thought he was phenomenal.
You would be stoked. And even though you are getting Payne Haas, there is something about watching a junior come through your club, and he's been so good for the club, and we've seen him evolve.
Played with Cam Murray growing up too.
Yeah, so those two playing together, coming through the ranks at Mascot. But even like Keon, like Souths have been the ones that have sort of developed him from like a flary edge back rower to, like you said, can be their main guy in the middle. And it's still, even though you are getting the best front row of all time, it's still hard to let that go when you've developed it yourself and you're going to have to defend against it next year. So, yeah, I think if I'm the Couchman brothers and I'm looking at him coming next year, like...
Stoked
hot.
as anything.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I thought Dane Jennings, I know it was a very small stint, but from a debutant, 26 minutes, just little moments where I was like, I don't mind the look of this young fella. Like, he looks like got something a bit about him.
There's massive raps on him.
Okay.
Massive raps, yeah.
Really? All right. And is he a winger, out-and-out winger, or centre wing?
Yeah,
he's normally a centre.
Yeah, he's more
Centre?
of a
But he
centre.
can cover elsewhere.
I don't know. There's something about him. I just watching him move and the ability. Sometimes you can watch rookies in contact in NRL and you're like, they're probably not ready. They're ready to do a basic job, but are they ready to impact a game? I looked at Dane and I was like, okay, there's something about this kid.
Dane, and it's important to note, Kempy, Dane, Dayne, very rugby league. So
love that.
That's promising early doors.
Similar to Rain, Reyn.
Love
Yes.
that.
So, very
Rugby league family, rugby league stock. It's good to see. And, like with Dane, absolutely he impacted the game. He was noticed. He must have farted near Tallis's locker or something, though, because he also should have had his first NRL try. And Tallis refused to pass him the ball because Tallis wanted a double.
But that's just fucking big dog energy.
It is.
So, bro, you got to earn this
Earn your
shit.
stripes,
Yeah,
mate.
earn your stripes, mate. I'm not giving free tries out to no one.
Get your own tries, mate. 100%. But, he will get plenty of his own tries watching him in that little sample on the weekend. He's going to be terrific for him.
So I thought Cody Walker was better. I will say, and like Jai Gray is a gun and one of the better ball running fullbacks in the competition, gets through a mountain of work. I do think come crunch end of the season, we'll probably see Trell move to fullback in good ball. Because I imagine, going into finals footy, when you need that 3-on-2 to land, it's going to be, I think Latrell's probably the best option at the moment in good ball.
I think they'd be crazy not to at the very least. Kevin, I think you're right. Like if it was me, I'd be looking to have Latrell at fullback in good ball as much as possible, especially when he's not having to get through the load of work that he used to. At the very least, they should have at least specific sets where they have
sometimes
that
he's centre, sometimes he's not.
Yeah.
Because I do think Jai Gray, his next step in his game will be ball playing. Like he needs to, if he wants to go to the next level, it'll be ball playing, I reckon.
And you've also you've got Humphreys on the bench there. There's a few ways you could go about using these combos. Like if we assume that it's him and Cheese, if there's no injuries, I'd love to see them lean into Humphreys comes on as the 9
I love
Cheese plays the middle.
Humphries in the middle there.
So do I, but
I love him.
I think Cheese, like I think because he's been injured and he's obviously had a lot of things that he's dealt with. Like we forget how good he was as a middle when he used to play that role for Melbourne. Like Melbourne looked at their most dangerous. They didn't win a comp doing it this way because by chance, like they just happened to have the greatest side ever in the NRL era against them. But when he used to play, I think it was 2021.
Him and Grant.
Yeah, he'd play like the
1-2
first
punch.
20, and then Grant would essentially come on and play out the game. Cheese would play in the middle. Like it's so deadly.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Humphries isn't Harry Grant, but I'd rather them use Cheese as a middle than Humphries.
See, I mean, true, but I reckon there's a long, lucrative career for Humphries as a middle forward off the bench.
Yes,
At 13.
I agree. I think that he wants to be a halfback.
Yeah,
which is
but-
going to be interesting to watch how that all unfolds.
I think sometimes you just got to go, you know what? Stuff it. Like, you know, I wanted to be that, but this is what I'm doing really good footy. Like Keon, for example, we all know he didn't want to go in the middle. He wanted to stay on the edge, but he said stuff it. Now he's got his $1 million contract. He doesn't get that if he's on the edge.
No, he doesn't. And I think there's something about Humphries because, like, just by looking at him, you can tell like he trains really hard. He looks after himself. Like he's a threat physically. There's something about him playing halfback where you're watching him. He just looks like he's having to think so much. And I don't know if that's just because he's young and he's been a half in a side that has struggled at different points when he's been there 7. But he definitely looks like he's way more natural and comfortable and just playing what's in front of him.
Yep.
And I know that makes sense because we're talking about when you're running a side versus when you're coming off as like a ball playing middle. But he does look more comfortable.
Yeah, when he's run first, but if there's an option to pass, he'll take it.
And if I'm him, like he's not as quick as Connor, but I'd be looking at Connor Watson's career, and obviously with the 6-man bench now, even with the 6-man bench, Connor is so valuable. Like he's obviously earned himself a couple of like big back end of his career contracts. Like if it's a money thing about the 7, and I don't know if it is, but like if you're valuable, you'll make the money.
Mate, as a 13, the 13 that I reckon he could turn into, I reckon he'd get a good wicket. I really do. Alrighty, apologies, it's a bit shorter, guys, because we just did all the Origin chat. Alrighty, the Doggies defeat the Titans 30-12. I got to tell you, listen, I was happy with them making the critter change to 6 last week just because I was like, they're doing something. And he's a communicator, and that's so important in the halves. And communication clearly looks like what they've been lacking for quite a while. Even though I was in favour of the selection, I didn't think he could do what he did against the Titans. He was phenomenal. And yeah, like, his ball playing, it's not like prime Joey Johns, but geez, it's enough. It's enough. He was outstanding. I know the immediate reaction will be like, oh, it's just the Titans. I get all that. But the reality is we've got a guy that's a centre playing 6 out of position. He had 3 try assists. I thought that this is exactly what the Dogs needed. It's a shot of enthusiasm. They've only scored 30 points one other time this year. Now, it doesn't mean they're back and they're the top of the table. No, I don't think so. But at the same time, it's exactly what they need in regards to just like sometimes you just need something to break the mood a little bit. Now they've got a bunch of excitement. Maxi King goes over for a try. Now it's all for the Doggies. It's about bottling this confidence and enthusiasm. Doesn't matter how you get it, against who or whatever, and just rolling on with it because this is one of the better Bulldogs performances in a long time.
Yeah, for sure. I spoke about last week. What's this mean in terms of longer term for them? I want to go against myself here though a week later and just sort of say like if it's working at the moment, it's working because it's just the Titans. They beat Penrith last week. Like I know they had some outs Penrith, but so did the Titans. So I think the creativity that Critter can give them, it's something different. I thought that their whole attack looked more like they were leaning into more of that running style for their halves. Like they were running a lot of like shapes off 9 and few other things like face balls and things that sort of front foot promote your halves to run a bit more. That try that we saw, was it Maxi King that scored it, where it was like a block shape using the middle. So they were just doing different things where, like if you actually watch it was the Maxi King try. Critter comes from the short side on the left. You can see him coordinate the whole thing.
You know what that is though? That's just a guy that's actually concentrating in the game and thinking of ways to beat this defense. Whereas I feel like the Dogs before with Galvin and Burton, it was very much like we've got this system that we're told to do and we're just doing it. Whereas I feel like with Critter, you can literally see him going, okay, we've got something. Okay, I need you here, 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 and here. And it just shows you like communication is more important than essentially anything when it comes to a half.
Yeah, and if you're someone listening or watching at home, like if you get the chance, go back and actually watch that play because you can see him coordinated on the fly, and I think that's something that the Dogs have lacked so much. Like, even when Sexton was their 7 and they were flying and they were coming first, like I think they just nailed their system and they built a system that they were executing on week in, week out. But I think in order to disrupt a team like Penrith, and I think if it had played out last year where they stayed with Sexton and Galvin didn't come, I still think it's like a version of which system's better. And obviously like the Penrith one, it's been built over a longer period of time. So seeing him do that, I completely understand why they're going to lean into that. I hope they lean into that for the rest of the year because they do look more dangerous and unpredictable. And
I don't think it's a long-term solution, but for the rest of the year, it's like, listen, just do what works. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, and the biggest thing to me is it's like, yeah, you can put Critter in at 6 and he's more skillful and he's a competitor and there's a chance it'll look better. The thing that I think most people would sleep on is that he makes the guys around him better. Like you can see those middles react to it, and
he's closer to the ball too, so he can talk to the boys more. He's like they're only 5 meters away rather than being fucking 15 or 20 meters away.
For sure, and like you don't know this unless you're out there, but I thought Hayward, like I thought that was the most creative we've seen him. Like
easily his best game of the year.
Yeah, so he
surely that's got to be Critter fucking helping.
That's what I'm saying. How much of it is the chat coming from in behind? So I think that it's something that they should do. Like even when Kurt Mann came on, the role he played through the middle, it just seemed to work a lot better. They looked like a different side. So yeah, I'd be sticking with it long term for sure.
Just quickly, we forgot to do our team of the week. So team of the week is Hammer at fullback, Cobbo on the wing, Tallis Duncan at centre. I had Herbie / Sasungi at 4. What do you reckon, Herbie or Sasungi at 4? We'll go Sasungi. Go Sasungi. What do you boys reckon?
Well, given he's been out for so long, go Sasungi.
Yep.
Sasungi?
Happy with that.
Okay, Rinakama at 5. I thought he was great. Critter at 6. Nikodima at 7. Keon at 8. Cheese at 9. Nafahu White 10. Curran at 11. Nanai at 12, Cam Murray at 13, Hayward at 14, Nathan Brown at 15, Tarpanay at 16, and Crossland at 17. Sorry, I had to get the team of the week out.
Yeah.
So like I'm with you, mate. I just think that, if it's working, just stick to it. I think that, it's long-term wise. I will say, like, I would love to know, like, why couldn't it be Galvin comes to the club, Sexton stays, and Burton and that go out to the centres? Because they've made the decision now.
Yeah.
And look, I know it's not that much hindsight speaking, but like I know it's something that doesn't matter anymore. But they ended up making that decision anyway.
The other thing that's interesting can be like when they were playing good footy last year, they did seem not as much as they did the other night, but they did seem like more of a run first team. Like I feel like Birdo, we used to see him get turned under a lot more. His running game was more prevalent in the first half of last season, so it's not like Birdo's not capable of doing it.
How much freer does Birdo look at centres? He looks like
he does.
Just doesn't have to think about anything. Just play footy.
Yeah, I love it, and like they've also got a couple of guys that are coming through. Like I think what they're doing with Kurt Mann, like obviously we saw Curran play on the edge, but having a guy through the middle, like even earlier in the year, I thought Jamin, when he was that guy for them, their attack did look noticeably better when they do have a guy through the middle who can sort of be that link. And between having a guy like that and obviously Kurt Mann, he was the most obvious one to me on the weekend, but it just frees up Critter to just play what he sees. Yep. And him being the captain and being the leader probably takes a bit more pressure off Galvin than what it would if it was Birdo doing it.
Yeah, so, for sure. And he definitely talks more too.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
I think as well, like I think their front row each week getting a bit better. Maxi King, I think he brings the best out of Leo Thompson as well.
Yeah.
They seem to really work as a pair together. And I think Leo Thompson, if you said the first half of the year, if you said, okay, has it been a good signing? You'd probably say, need to see more. Like I definitely couldn't give it a tick. If you took his form from like round, I'll just say 8, and I know that's not halfway through the year, but let's just say round like 8 or 10 onwards, I would go, so far, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the signing. Like, is he set the world alight? No, but he's definitely getting better and creating a foundation for the Bulldogs pack to score points off,
Yeah, we started with him injured at the start of the year, and when he came in, there was sort of a assumption that he's playing a bit shot. And then obviously the team was struggling anyway, but I think the last couple of weeks you've started to see more out of him. I also think like we're sleeping on, Guru mentioned earlier when we were talking about Origin, You're going to see Preston come in probably either this week or next week. Got Satilli and Kikau still sitting on the sideline.
Yes, a lot of good players.
What are your edge back rows going to look like? Like we saw at the start of the year, they were hanging in games and winning some games. Like they beat Penrith because of how good the Galvin and Preston combo is, even though it was so predictable. I think Critter and the style that they played on the weekend, it had a lot more unpredictability. So what's that going to mean for a guy like Jake Preston or a Viliama Kikau when he comes back in? Like
People disagree with this call, but I'd consider playing Kikau through the middle, even if it's off the bench.
Yep.
And, you start with Maxi King, you start with Leo Thompson, and you say to Kikau around the 20-minute mark or whatever it is, and just say, mate, I need you to just go out there and cause carnage. Or you bring him on and you move one of the other boys into the middle. Because I think Sestili's been their best player so far this year. Like if there was an award for best player, now he won't be back at all this year, will he? Is it a peck? What is it?
I don't know what it was.
I think it was Peck, but I'll check.
Yeah, I think either way, regardless of how you use Kikau, when you got these guys that are sort of those more explosive offloads, unpredictable, like the style that they played on the weekend and the last 2 weekends, I think it's fair to say last week it was uglier, but it's sort of they just got it done against Manly. Whereas I think against the Titans, it was actually a lot more exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was high range hammy, but it was like 8 weeks.
Yeah, 8 weeks. Oh, so he could be back, for finals if they make finals.
If they make finals, I think the reality is the best chance that they have of making the finals is leaning into this style. And when you've got Critter there and he's more controlling, I feel like we've watched Hayward either not do anything from 9 or try and do way too much so that it feels forced. It looked like a really nice balance on the weekend.
It was easily Hayward's best performance at 9. For
sure.
Like not even close. And I love that for him. And I just think it has to be because Critter is in his ear, just reminding him, mate, take a run. Or like, we get a quick play of the ball. Like I can't stress to you how important that is, especially for younger players. Like we just assume they go in there and they're the full package and they have fully confidence in themselves. But sometimes it might take Critter to remind him every 3 or 4 sets, mate, if you see something, take it. If you see something, take it. And so, yeah, look, the moving Critter to 6, it's been outstanding. I thought they were really good. In regard to some other, I thought Connor Tracy tried really hard. Like that nearly try saver that he had was really good.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
that would have been one of the best I've ever seen.
I was a bit surprised that they gave that because you're not allowed to roll the ball. Like yes, his hand was still in touch, but you're not really allowed to roll the ball over the try line. And he rolled that over his hand to score. I don't get it.
Yeah, I personally, I had in my notes, I thought he saved this one. Even if you're going to lean on the side of, and I get that they sent it up, how they sent it up, but yeah, I thought he'd done a crazy effort and I thought it made more sense watching it. Like it looked more like a no try to me than a try.
Because let's say he grounds that before the line and then he rolls it over the line, but his forearm's still touching. That's no try.
Yeah.
So that's what I don't get. Like it's on his arm. If it's not on his arm and his arm's still up that high, he's dropping the ball.
Yes, and to me, it's like it wasn't like a momentum thing where he's like bounced off. Like at one stage on the weekend in one of the later games, Setu 2's try, where he sort of fell over the line off the back of that kick.
Yep.
Like he sort of bounced off someone onto the ground, and it was all momentum. Like to me, that Sami one, it wasn't momentum. It was like a promotion.
Like he was kept promoting, trying, which is not a double movement per se, but he was rolling. Anyway, here's what it is. They ended up winning. But yeah, Bailey Hayward, great. Leo Thompson, great. Maxi King going over for a try, outstanding stuff.
Rena Karma is unbelievable.
Mate, he was so good. Yeah, he made our team of the week. Mate, it's like every second game he'll have like an error here or there or, whatever.
Yeah.
If he can keep it error-free, he's a gun.
He smashes out yardage and like even...
He's a big boy too.
Big body. Some of the games that they've struggled in this year, he has still smashed out a lot of meters for him. And that second try he scored where Hayward threw that long ball, and to our point before, that's a complete confidence play from Hayward. So it's promising signs for the Dogs. Yes, it's only one game, but for him to jump out and be confident throwing that down the short side is what you want to see from him.
And Rena Karma, he's only 20 years old.
Yeah.
192 centimetres, 92 kilos. So I'm assuming a Fijian heritage. I'm assuming. Apologies if that's wrong. Rena Karma seems like a Fijian name.
It does, yeah.
Like if they can build him out, he is going to be a problem on the wing. Rena Karma. Fiji?
Yep.
192 centimetres, 22 years old. Like by the time he's 24 or 5, he'll be 100 kegs.
Yeah. Oh, easily.
Like that is going to be a problem. Under the high ball, really good. great in contact, good finisher. So really, I was actually quite surprised. I think at the start of this year, they went with another young fella coming through that I think signed for Perth now. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Is it Sewer? His first name is Sewer?
I know
Jonathan Sewer?
Maybe. Could
know
you
who
just
you're
check?
talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And I was actually quite surprised that Rinakama wasn't getting a look in because when he actually made his debut last year or the year before, he was gun. And they've clearly been patient with him. I'm really excited to see Rinakama's future because he looks like a star.
Yeah, and I was stoked to see Josh Curran as well. I thought he was fantastic getting that start.
He's a weird one, isn't he? Because
Yeah, Jonathan Sewer played on the wing for a couple of games.
yeah, and had some good moments and then not so good moments. But some games he was outstanding, even in a loss. Bit of a weird one for Curran because I know he wants to play 13, but they just for some reason at the Dogs they're just like no, not 13. It's either Salmon, potentially Hayward, being kind of forced to play in the front row, but every time he's on the edge, he does pretty well.
It's weird though too. Yeah, he does. He always does well on the edge. It's funny though. They got some really good front row depth there at the moment in terms of those guys. I get the whole if Salmon's your 13 or Hayward's your 13 and Kurt Mann comes on at 13, you're looking for a certain style and a link. To me, Josh Curran offers a bit of a hybrid role there where he's probably more like you obviously back his physicality enough that you'll pick him at front row sometimes. But to have him as a link, he is capable of ball playing and we've seen some of his better stuff when he does that. So it does surprise me a little bit that they haven't explored that option more. Maybe it's just because of necessity at the moment. You're probably always going to play him on the edge over a Harry Hayes or whatever.
Yep.
They're already using Jamin on an edge. So, yeah, maybe that's just a depth thing. But, it's a bit of a shame that he's leaving them, I think, especially if they are going to find the form that we expect them to have this year at some point over the next couple of years. Where do you see him playing for Perth?
Probably 13.
13?
I'd say so. Yeah, on a decent wicket. Okay, now just before we wrap it up, guys. Look, I know I've said this before, but I hate, and I know it wasn't his calf that went, but Kiraz playing, every soft tissue injury you get, you unbalance your body. It is that simple. Now, yes, rehab is gotten better and better and better. I admire his tenacity. It's incredible. But I just think if your calf's not great, and we saw last week he was barely barely able to walk or run for periods there, and then he would somehow find the mental toughness to get through it. The more you play with all this unbalancedness, and for example, if you've got a calf that's torn and you're supposed to be out for 6 weeks, every time you run, another part of your body is compensating for that torn calf.
For sure, yeah.
And so what happens is you fatigue other parts of your body. So often you'll see, let's say a guy does his hammy, he comes back a little bit early, and he actually does the other hammy, or he does another. You know why? It's because his body is trying to compensate for a weak muscle on that edge. And I just think with Kiraz, I admire his spirit, I admire the dog's toughness, but just let the body heal. You're going to build a club around this guy. You're not going to win a comp this year. And we saw on the weekend, he went off 44 minutes, and is it either hip flexor or I don't know what it is, it's something, hip flexor, quad or something, maybe whatever it was. But it's not definitely the case, but it seems like his body's out of balance, and it's going to keep, all these things are going to keep happening until you give it proper rest to get the strength back in.
It says rib injury.
Rib injury.
Yep.
Again,
Yeah.
look, put it this way, if you are tough enough to come back from tearing your calf in a fucking warm-up, you can play on with a rib injury.
I really hope that it is his decision to be pushing through this, because if I'm him, I'm looking at the fact that we've just dropped our left winger for the Blues. It was he was in conversations anyway based on form earlier in the series.
Well, he got a phone call, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they wanted to bring him into camp. We know that whole story. But they're now playing a right centre at club on our left wing. Mark's not going to be there next year. So, if there was ever going to be an opportunity to take, or for it to be presented to him and for him to take it, it would be either for game 3 now or leading into next year. But either way, him being available would have been ideal for him. So I hope at least if it is him choosing to push through this, that at least then it's okay, well, I'm pushing through it. I can live with the consequences.
Yeah,
Whereas
but
if it's the club.
But even if it is him, I respectfully, I don't think it's the head coaches and the not even the head coaches really. It's the medical staff.
I agree.
That have the power and authority to say, mate, I don't think you're good. And so, like, even if it is him pushing through that and they're saying, okay, well, you just let us know. I just think that sometimes that's why you get paid to be in administration, to make these tough calls and protect these players from themselves.
I agree. I think it's still poor on the club if it is his decision. I'm more saying from his point of view, at least if he's pushing through, and I agree they should.
Well, it sounds like it is him pushing through, but I just think in the grand scheme of things, like the last thing you want is this guy complete, like soft tissue here, soft tissue there.
Yes.
And granted, I get it. The pushback's going to be, what does a rib cartilage have to do with a calf injury? Look, I'm surprised they didn't put him back on. It's weird. They'll allow him to say, I'm ready to go with a torn calf, but I doubt Kiraz said, I've got a sore rib, I'm not going back on. That would have been a coach's call. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just think that you looked at last week, he was hobbling around the joint, could barely run at stages. Yes, he pushed through it. Yes, he's tough. Let him, I would give him a few weeks off and let his body recover and bring him back fresh.
Yeah, and I agree. And from the club's point of view, they shouldn't be letting him play, regardless of whether it's him or if they're making him. I just think, at least from his point of view, it's your own disappointment and it's your own decision if you're missing out on Origin selection.
But it's weird though, because like they didn't allow him back on the field.
I know the whole thing's a bit bizarre. But
and if you're all about, okay, you decide if you're good to go. But anyway, look, and I know that people say, what's the rib got to do with the calf? Again, what I'm saying is that it's more the broader picture. I said the same thing last week. I'll be interested. I will say, like, when he was coming off, it definitely didn't look like a rib. It definitely didn't look like a rib. But anyway, could be wrong. Just quickly on the Titans before we move on, because it's a shorter episode, guys, because we did the Origin stuff. In the grand scheme of things, not really that disappointing when you consider where the Titans are at the start of the year. Relative to all the progress they'd made, incredibly disappointing. Like, they come out, they constantly drop the ball coming out of their own end, and yet they defend their backsides off. So they do the hard stuff. But the easy stuff, the fun stuff, they don't do. This is a really, really disappointing performance from the Titans.
Yeah, they'd definitely be frustrated with this one. I really like, obviously he's only there at the moment based on some injuries and stuff, but I've always thought Jalen de Groot, when he's come in for them, especially in the preseason, I thought he looked really good. And if him and Jojo Fafita are on the same edge as an aerial threat, it's quite dangerous for him, which is exciting. Like, they caused a bit of trouble there over the weekend. Phil Sami's doing crazy things at the moment, obviously. I thought Ollie Pascoe, his creativity out of 9. I also really like I'm going to butcher how you say this. Is it Paxton? Josh Paxton?
I guess so.
Yeah, he. I thought he was incredible. Like, he had 3 offloads. Cleese Haas off the bench, 5 offloads too. Like, I thought those guys and the creativity off the bench is massive for the Titans. But as you
and Morin's impact's also great.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we're definitely used to that. I think I just more noticed the other two relative to the last few weeks. Whereas obviously, Morin's a gun. I just think that when you got those guys off the bench that you want to lean into that style of offloads and being a point of difference, when you're making so many errors anyway, it sort of takes away from that. They probably have to play in their shell a bit. So,
but also, like, they actually didn't make that many errors. It was the timing of the errors that killed them.
Costly errors.
Like, for example, Bo Fermor bombing that try, and then they go up, and I think he's the one that misses the tackle on Max King. I think I could be wrong. I think though, like, as a senior player, you just can't. Yeah, you're killing them. You're killing them.
Yeah, and they actually made 2 less errors than the Dogs.
It's the time of the errors. Trust me.
Yes.
Obviously you watch the game, but
of course,
mate, especially in the first half, like they gassed themselves in the back end because they were defending their dicks off for so long in the first half by making silly errors coming out of their own end.
Yeah, when you've had less ball, and it finished as like a 47%, 53% split in favour of the Dogs, but that definitely evened out as the game went on. So, yeah, I think a few...
There was a period there in the second half where they mounted a comeback, and that was the Phil Sami cry. It looked like, okay, game's a bit on here, and then the Dogs took it away. But just really disappointing. The stats don't really tell the story, to be honest. Like, if you actually look at the stats, you go, oh, this is actually a relatively good game from the Titans. Like, they won the play the ball speed. Meterage, they were a bit down on meterage, but they weren't so off the Doggies. But if you actually watch the game, the time that the errors came, it was just like, oh my God, bro.
But I think that's why they would be so disappointed, Campy, is because if you do just look at the stats, it's relatively even. But obviously, like, 18 points is not a tight game. So, especially off the back of last week, they'd be pretty disappointed. But again, like, I think their trajectory is still on the up. So, it's exciting times.
Okay, on to the Broncos versus the Roosters. Ended up 24-18. I think that actually flatters the Broncos quite a bit. I thought the Roosters, even though they went in, I think, down at halftime and that was, a ball on the deck and Broncos pounced on it, I actually thought the Roosters controlled this with the physicality in defence quite a bit. And there was periods there where Broncos just could not get out of their half, like literally just couldn't get out of their half. I really like this performance from the Roosters. Was it a perfect performance? No. Were they definitely scrappy in the first half? Absolutely. But I look at that second half and I was really, really happy with the Roosters. 90% completion rate in the second half, very physically dominant. Really, really good win against a very brave Broncos. Like, although, they still seem to want to score off every single play and all that kind of stuff, they were very, very brave, the Broncos. They put in a lot of effort. And I do think with that effort, they beat a lot of sides. But the Roosters, they're just a tier above on this night.
Yeah, I think the performance or the game itself was weird relative to where both teams are at, because you're right. Like, I think the Broncos would have beat most sides the way they played. Like, I thought for them to put themselves in a position to still be fighting for that game at the back end, like, was a credit to them.
But yeah, because like I genuinely feel like Roosters physically dominated most of that game.
Yeah, they did. And like, I think even that's where I when Grant Anderson capitalised on that loose ball and he went and scored, like, you're sitting there and we're down at halftime, and as a Roosters fan, I'm sitting there thinking, how the fuck are we down at halftime?
Yeah,
like, how are we down after that half of football? But I guess the positive from that is that, like you said, we knew we were in control of the game. We stayed patient. We won a few more key moments, and we end up winning. I still have my massive concerns around the Wong DCE combination.
Yeah.
The Broncos did a really good job at getting at that, obviously scored a couple of tries through it. I don't know if we're going to be able to compete with a team like Penrith.
Well, the problem is DC's defence has always been a bit questionable.
Yeah.
And some games he nails it, and you're just like, okay. And then some games, he struggles a little bit. So it definitely is a target. I just wonder whether if Roosters can win the physical battle enough, it's not as much of a worry to a degree. Because I've got to say, on the other side, Sam Walker's defence, fuck me. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That one-on-one tackle on Ricky was fucking phenomenal.
Crazy. Yeah.
And actually, I think that, interestingly, like, have I looked at DC on the field this year and said signing was worth it? Not yet. Now, I'm not willing to count out that they don't build into where they want to go. They're currently sitting third on the ladder, I think. However, I probably haven't given enough credit for, and maybe it might be true, it might not be true, but maybe Sam Walker's red-hot form has to do with a lot of DC's leadership off the field for him. Maybe the fact that he went into Origin and essentially has played 2 man-of-the-match performances, maybe DC has brought that out in him, because, like, the thing with DC is, like, obviously he's not as good as Cooper Cronk, career-wise and everything like that. But in regards to temperament on the field, he is far closer to Sam Walker than Cooper Cronk is. And I wonder whether that's helped Sam Walker's game elevate the way it has.
Yeah, I think the other thing that you need to give Ches like a lot of credit for is, while he's a veteran, it's a new dynamic that he sort of had to lean into this year. Like, he's used to being the guy, the 7, like, regardless of who he was partnered with. Like, obviously he had Foz for a lot of his time at Manly. He was always the guy. He's come into this team this year with the Roosters, and he's been expected to be a leader still and a senior player, but let Sam do his thing. And it's probably one of the most challenging players that we've seen to try and build a combination with. Like, there's numerous guys that we've seen, like Luke Keary's a great example of guys who have done a lot in our game and still really struggled to find that balance. So I think he's done a pretty good job at that in terms of taking a back seat but still being effective. And when I watch the Roosters play now, and I know this sounds stupid because, like, in my opinion, we're still worlds away from being able to compete with teams like Panthers and the Dolphins, but our results indicate that. I always watch games like this and I think, okay, well, what are we doing that would translate to a game like that at the back end? I think our attacking kicks at the moment are really good. Like the Billy Smith try, like his first try, Toya's try. Like, we've obviously got those aerial threats. And I think earlier on in the year, we weren't doing enough in midfield to get guys like Mark a clear run at the ball and make it a contest. But I think we've done a way better job at doing that. So that was something I thought on the weekend was noticeably impressive. But it's a hard one because I don't think Wong has the experience yet for you to be able to trust him at the back end to navigate how sometimes DC will just go rogue. He'll shoot out. Like, I'm not saying that you need to make a change there in terms of personnel necessarily, but it's definitely something that needs to get stronger if we're going to compete at the back end.
Yeah, I think that what you could translate in a big game is your defense in the second half. Like, you truly squeeze the life out of that Broncos side.
Yeah.
I understand the Broncos were missing some players, but you still did. I think, look, yes, against the Panthers and the Dolphins, you're still yet to kind of like genuinely push them. However, if you said to a Roosters fan, you were sitting fourth, with what's the round? It's 18 round, 17. So round 18, you're sitting fourth. You'd be pretty happy with that.
It's hard to follow though because I don't think we're actually sitting fourth in terms of once you factor in buys and things like that.
So you've got 10 wins.
Yeah.
No.
Even with buys, we're actually sitting around there.
Yep, 10 wins. You actually equal second.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's hard to be too. I get the argument has still always been, how do you go against the big dogs?
Yeah.
But if you're sitting equal, so it's Newey's on 10 wins, you're on 10 wins, Dolphins are on 10 wins, and the Warriors are on 10 wins. Now, I understand that
are there teams below us that haven't had as many buys yet, though? Because
wins is all that matters.
But and you've played the same amount of games, so it's actually rarely on point for once.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you could argue, buys, whatever, but I just look at wins. Whoever's won the, so it goes 12 for Panthers, 10 there's 4 people on 10, then there's 9, 8, 8, 8, 9, 9, 9. So it's actually starting to, the ladder is starting to have a more real look at where teams are actually at outside of the Cowboys, who they have 9 wins, but they're sitting 9th. Everyone else is pretty much where they should be, pretty much.
I will say, though, Kempy, too, like to your point with the Roosters, there are years gone by where we've still ended up being reasonably competitive at the back end, where I do think we would have lost that game the other night, where we control a lot of possession early, field position, find ourselves down at half-time against a run of play, and maybe we do bottle it. Whereas, like
also,
you said,
most years, you're sitting fucking 10th at the moment.
That's right.
Wigging out trying to make it the 8.
Yeah.
That's
right.
You equal second.
And we've still had a lot of guys in and out with injuries and things like that. So I think there is a lot to like. What did you make of the Nat Butcher tackle?
Which one was that?
On All Blacks, where it sort of went up, All Blacks stayed down, and it was like I thought potentially it might be a hip drop. I personally didn't think it was a textbook hip drop because he actually landed in front of him and All Blacks just fell awkwardly. But they still put him on report.
See, I'm a big believer. If you don't land on the back of their legs, it's not a hip drop.
It's not. And that's what I thought, but they still put him on report. So I'm like, is that just a virtue signaling thing to put on report? Like,
you reckon the ref's woke?
Yeah, is the ref woke? Like, is it just a thing to be like, we'll cover our bases? Because like he landed in front of him and it was an awkward tackle, but like you said, textbook hip drop, swing legs around the back.
Land on the foot. Yeah, no, I don't think people landing in awkward positions should be penalised.
No, I agree.
Simple. So no, I don't think he's got anything to worry about. And that has been the rule. The rule has been if you don't land on the legs, you don't get pinged for it. So I think it'd be sweet. Cool. I think it'd be sweet. So yeah, like I do think good signs for the Roosters. Are they the juggernaut with which we play for premierships on their jersey would equate to? No. But are they in a much better position, except for maybe 1 year, than they have been in the last 5 years? I would say yes.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I'd say B right now. B, probably like a B plus right now for where they're at. Now, I honestly, with the roster they've got, I would expect them to have at least a win over a top 2 side, like as in, maybe a win over Panthers or at least a tight loss against Panthers or Dolphins, and they haven't done that yet. So that is a little bit of a concern. Now, I know these, I get it, missing players, blah, blah, blah. I get all that. But you can't negate the fact that this has been a concern for a while now.
And we don't get the Panthers until round 24. Then we've got the Dolphins in round 26. So
I will say, in the Roosters' defense, like, if you've only got one bogey team left, essentially, because you have beaten the Dolphins before, and then you beat the Storm this year, correct?
Yep.
So it's like you've only got one bogey team left. Like,
mate, to be honest,
that's pretty good.
But we have beaten those sides before. Like, we haven't beaten this Dolphins. Obviously, I would argue we've only had the one crack at them, and
you haven't beaten Panthers in like 5 years though.
We upset them earlier in the season last year.
Round 2? Okay, apologies.
We'll pay like 12-1 or something. But like, again, it's round 2. So
and also that was when they were fucking terrible.
That's right.
Year,
So I I think that in saying that though, like as is always the case with the Roosters, it's about what happens at the back end. So I think if we keep building, like I said, we get Panthers round 24, Dolphins round 26 when we get cracks at those teams. In the meantime, you got a lot of teams like the Cowboys that will come up against, and even teams like the Tigers, the Bulldogs, where they might be playing for one of those bottom 8 spots at that point. So there'll still be some tough games in the meantime.
I think it's more not necessarily they've only got one bogey team left. It's more like I've probably only seen 1 or 2 80-minute performances from you guys where I've gone, fuck me, that is hectic. Like you could even argue on the weekend, although they were dominant, like that first half was scrappy as anything from you guys. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like whereas the second half was quite good. But look, as I said, B+ at the moment. They're sitting equal second. Now onto the Broncos. Disaster. Like this is like I know. Like the thing is this, I get what Madge was saying in the press conference by saying proud of the boys, the effort's there, blah blah blah. He is absolutely correct. They looked much better in this game than they have looked. The problem is if you say that every single press conference, proud of the boys, we're working hard, the effort was there. When it actually is true, it holds less weight of you saying that because you're like, well, I kind of heard that every single week, even when we play poorly. Mate, we're on a 7-game losing streak. This is one of the worst streaks of a premiership winning side ever. And also, like, I feel like there's a bit of desperation. Like, for example, Leilua can't make the Dragons starting side, but we're going after him.
Yeah.
Like Barnett, he's a little bit older. Benny Hunt, like I think that re-signing has a lot to do with they're gone. Pezzett we're a bit unsure that he's the full package yet. We need a senior guy in this playing group to Blake Moser. What's happening there? Like, if he keeps not getting any game time, and Billy Walters is back, who is actually the difference. He's unbelievable for us. And I'm so happy for Billy Walters because no matter what he did last year, there was still an audience of people that would say, nah, like, he's only there because of his old man, blah, blah, blah. That argument is dead now.
Died a long time ago for most people. But
dead. You cannot say that anymore. We miss him so much. And I look at our recruitment for next year and I go, unfortunately, okay, we won the comp for sure. Great, awesome stuff. But we're actually in a worse spot next year than we have been in quite a while. We're losing Payne Haas and Adam Reynolds.
Yeah.
And like our recruitment isn't, I'm not sitting here blown away by it at all. Like Barnett, great signing, fell in our lap, is 32 years old or something like that. Now, that doesn't mean he come and play well, but that was kind of a luck thing for us. Reynolds, like we don't have a replace. Like right now, we're going into 27 where Duffy and Pezzett will genuinely be fighting it out, and we actually may land on Ben Hunt as our starting 7 next year.
Yeah, I mean, is Ezra guaranteed to be your 5'8"? Because
I'd say so. Like surely.
You'd think so, but like he also hasn't been this year. But he also sat on the bench in an Origin squad. So it's just bizarre. It's hard to follow. I think to your point though, can be like, I think one thing that definitely hurt you guys on the weekend, like Payne Haas obviously leaving, massive hole. Shining light so far this year though has been Xavier Willison.
Yeah, it hurt us for sure.
Losing him after 9 minutes and still staying in the game and hanging in there despite everything we spoke before. Would have made a lot of sense had he come out and said, oh yeah, brave performance, they're trying. Would have checked out to me, and it did check out with this game, but what's interesting is his speech post-game didn't sound drastically different to 2 weeks ago, 48-6 loss to the Rabbitohs.
Mate, we gave Dragons their first win. The Titans, their second or third win.
But like after the Rabbitohs game, like you nearly concede 50 points and he gives a similar speech where it's like, look, playing group's trying really hard, blah, blah, blah. Worlds apart from what you got on the weekend. So if I'm a fan and I heard that against the Rabbitohs, and I'd be thinking, are you fucking serious? And then I watched them on the weekend. They actually were brave. They hung in there, put themselves in a position to win despite probably having no right to do so. Like, it does just send mixed messages. And
well, look, this is what Madge is trying to do. He doesn't want to put the boys off publicly.
Yeah.
But, like, look at Ivan Cleary and Craig Bellamy when they lose. Fuck. Ivan Cleary, we're talking about a guy that's won 4 comps and is currently ahead of the whole comp by 2 wins. He said fucking 13 words. He was so angry.
Yeah.
And they, like, I get, the thing is that footy fans aren't dumb. Like, we know that he would be going in there, ripping the boys to shreds. Not after the Roosters game, but all these other games.
Yes.
And so, like, I just feel like a bit of, you got to give the fans something. If you keep coming in saying, oh, we're trying really hard, it's like, okay, let's say you are trying so hard. Maybe that's the problem then. Maybe try less hard. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Yeah, like,
Boyle reports that is the problem, that they've been trying too hard for too long. And, like, it's just concerning seeing, like, to me, the biggest indicator is Reece Walsh. Like, just the fluctuation in his form this year. Like, I don't think anyone was expecting him to come back at the same heights. But just, like, the confidence that he's been showing, it's just been so far from what he was capable of last year.
Yeah, and I thought he started the game really well. Like, came back, sprinting the ball back hard and fast, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a tough one. The scary thing is that not only are we having a bad year, we actually head into next year with a weaker squad than what we headed into this year with.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's concerning. You know, Kobe Hetherington has been a massive loss for us. You know, Billy Walters a massive loss. I know it's not anyone's fault. He, did his ACL. And I know people go, come on, mate, we were missing, all these guys for this game. Yeah, that's fair enough. But what about the other 6 games that we've lost? Like, yes, we've had injuries, but are you telling me that our roster couldn't have beaten the Dragons, couldn't have beat the Titans? Like, come on.
The Dragons one for me, and obviously not a Broncos fan, like, you can probably speak better to this, and even like the perspective of a former player. What would frustrate me more than anything is that Dragons game. They fucking score like 4 tries in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, because they can do it.
And that's the most frustrating thing to me, is like, oh, so it's there. Like,
but that suggests to me that they're running on flat.
Yeah.
That suggests to me that they're working too hard during the week. Against the Rabbitohs game, we had Adam Reynolds cramping. Like, I've never seen that in my life. Mid-season, seasoned veteran, fit as anything, whatever, cramping in the middle of the game. Like, that happens to rookies in their first game or like trial matches.
Yeah.
And also, Matty was at the game. He said there were multiple people cramping up.
There was trainers running on the field every 5-10 minutes.
Like,
in the second half.
So, yeah, it's the problem is that we've failed to recruit really well. Like, we should be so aggressive. Like, we're getting guys that can't make the sides. Like, right now, if we were to get Leilua, we would be getting Pezzett and Leilua, 2 guys that are on the outer at the current club that they're at. Because, like, right now, Pezzett, it's on the outer is a hard word because he's only been there for a year, but he can't make the side, and they're struggling.
It's so weird, and that's where, like, there has to be more to this. Like, there has to be, because you should be in a position, like, not only are you the reigning premiers, but you're the Brisbane Broncos. So you should be sitting in a position where you can swing your piece around, and you should be actually having to fight people off. Like, you should have marquee guys trying to get out of contract. And, like, in the past, you've had guys trying to, break contract, or they're desperate to come to the Broncos.
Or even, like, we should be getting young guns that can't get a run because that team is so good, and we steal them because it's like, yep, come here. Like, look at the Dolphins right now. They are stacked beyond. They are letting go edge back rowers. We fucking don't. We can't even, like, mate, what we got 3 edge back rowers in our squad.
Yeah, and that's what's so weird, is like, you're the Broncos, you're the reigning premiers, and it's actually the opposite. Rather than like being able to swing your piece around and be like,
they're losing people.
Who wants to come? People are jumping ship, and also, like, there's like this weird undertone of like, fuck, who would want to go there? Which is so weird.
It's so weird, bro. It's so weird. So hopefully things can change. But it's been a disaster year. Not only have we lost players, we lost fucking our assistant coach as well.
Yeah, Ben Teo.
Oh, wow. Okay. So tough times. I will say, that was quite negative, but I was really proud of the boys' effort in this game.
This game alone, they had no right to be in the game, and they fought really hard. So.
Yeah, so I was really proud of the effort, and they play like this against most teams, and they probably beat most teams, and Wilson going off. But as I said, for people that are in the boat of like, oh, look at all the injuries we had, what about the 6 other games? Like, yes, we had injuries, but we still had a pretty bloody good squad to beat those sides. Yes. At least jag a win or 2 in the last 7 games, and we haven't. Okay, on to the match of the round, the match of the season almost. Unbelievable game. Let's get to the controversy first. Some of the reffing calls this week are unacceptable. Like,
it's absurd.
It genuinely, I hope with this new crazy big deal we've got, there are resources put aside to upskill our refs, because some of the calls were diabolical. And again, if it's on the fly, I'll cop it. But these video ref calls, like, you could even argue the Philip Sammy one, the try, but I'll let that slide. The one where you can see Lemuelu clearly passing back inside and him calling it a knock on, like, I'm sorry, but how does someone that's involved in rugby league as much as a video ref would be in not know that that's a pass back inside?
It's pretty.
And you can't
clear.
rule on forward passes.
But the idea that we've got this rule in our game, and it's not a thing in rugby union. But I'm actually okay with the rule in principle where if you bobble the ball and it touches one of their players, automatic knock on. I'm okay with that. It's the most clear passing action, and this was one of those examples. I talk about this all the time. You can hear the guy in the bunker talk through it, and you're like, "There's no way you believe that."
Couldn't be.
He tries to pass the ball.
Yeah.
It's like an underarm, pushes the ball towards the guy pushing through. Like, it was so clearly a pass. So I don't know how we landed on that, but again, like
it nearly cost them the win. Nearly cost them a win.
it did. But in saying that, massive raps to the Dolphins that it didn't. Like even to lose Katoa and still put on that performance and come back and win. Like
To lose Katoa and still get the job done. Now, I know that they were missing, Fish and Jackson Ford. I get it, but, mate, that was incredible from the Dolphins. Incredible. Nicodemus, my God. How good is he?
yeah,
What about the Hammers try savers?
yeah. I mean, I thought, to be honest, from the Warriors' point of view, that going into this game, they were underdogs way more than what you would expect when it's second versus third, essentially. But I thought it was great coaching from Webster to target the other edge with kicks. So you've obviously got Bostock and Cobbo next to each other, but again, those guys still found a way to impact the game. Like you spoke a bit earlier about Cobbo. That winning try, like just broken play, nothing doing, picks it up, like just the sort of effort and intensity that he's been questioned about for so long. Like he's just doing great things. I think both these teams confirmed on the weekend, and as you mentioned, Kempy, like a few guys out from both sides. Certain little moments though, like where, like even Stower Smith when he made that try saver, like just little moments where you're like, fuck, these teams, yes, they're missing guys, and it's not the best indicator of where they're at, but you can confirm that they'll both sort of be right there at the back end.
Yep. Yeah. They're just playing on a different level. Like all the little non-negotiables, they do not miss. They do not miss.
Like even, and it's hard to not sit there as a Wars fan and hear this and go, oh, well, what about us? Like 100% you guys are missing guys. Massive raps to the Dolphins though. Like you lose Katoa, you're down by 8 points against a really good side who was playing well.
Yep.
And you still find a way to fight back in. You have a bullshit try that doesn't get allowed for you, and you still find a way to win. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. I got to Solomon Cobbo, the form this guy's hit is just like genuinely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like right now, he's probably the Dalian winger of the year.
Has to be.
Like
has to be.
Far out, bro. Seriously, he's just absolutely ripping. Like I know, you could say, oh, he had 4 errors or whatever, but usually it's because he's fucking going up for a bomb or trying something crazy in good ball when it's the right time to try it as well.
The other weird call in this game was his no try, where like it was a grounding one, and I feel like vibe wise, it's no try. Like you watch it and you think that's a drop ball, but by the rules and the way they've been reffing them recently, I sort of thought that
Like as in there was still a pinky touching it.
yeah. I just again find it so hard to follow.
Yeah. Herbie, great once again. Clearly the best center in the game now. It's just like not even funny.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, to lose your 7 and still come on and play like that. And the Warriors actually did this against the Broncos a few weeks ago in Magic Round. Was it Magic Round? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Magic Round. Yeah, they did against Magic Round. Tanner Boyd goes off. So they've done it as well. But even like unsung heroes like Jeremy Marshall King at 9, like just opened so much for them. Like they are the real deal, the Dolphins. And really, they've only got one loss against the Panthers by a field goal. That's it.
Yeah, and you can see how much that JMK coming back in frees up Plath. Like Plath obviously started the year at 9, did such a good job for him while he was out, but they're such a better team with those two both in the side.
Jeez, when he jumps in the middle there and he's almost more than a link man. He almost just like out and out plays a 7 role. And actually like one of the tries was him creating space, going deeper into the line.
You can definitely tell that he came through as a 7
Yes.
as
Yeah,
opposed
absolutely.
to say like a Yo who has developed a skill set,
Yep. It was Bostock's great try assist where he kicks and Asako picks it up.
Oztag-esque.
That was actually Plath in the middle was the one going deep, not crazy deep in the line, but deep enough to give them space on the edge there. Yeah, I tell you what, they just were outstanding. They really, really were. And look, to be honest, so were the Warriors. So were the Warriors. It was a great game. Great game. Hammer had about 1 million try savers. The Warriors had about 1 million try savers as well. Yeah, I tell you what, we spoke about earlier, we're stoked for Bostock to be there. But that try that he set up, hitting that great line, then he puts it on the toe, just goes perfectly. Everything's just working for Bostock at the moment.
For sure. And I think that was a thing for me where it's you see him drop it on the toe there and it didn't go exactly as planned. But I feel like really good players make their own luck, Kempy. So the way that worked out, he just goes after the game. And that's why I would have had him on my side. Wouldn't have been on the left wing as we spoke about. But I'm stoked that he is there. And
even little things Schneider puts in a terrible kick. It's a 7-tackle set. And then Cody Nikorima just one-on-one strips and gets the ball back. Yeah. Just little moments like that where you just go far. They're so good at these big little moments, and that's a whole momentum shifter. That changes from, oh shit, we've just lost all momentum. They get to have 7 tackles to we're attacking their line again.
And I think it's a massive rap to their coaching that I have them as the best centers pairing in the comp at the moment by some margin. It's unbelievable. Herbie was a gun at the Broncos. So that's not a hot take that he's come in here and he's one of the best centers. Bostock wasn't even a center. He was actually out with an ACL. So for him to come in now, and it's I feel like you're crazy if you're watching it and you're going, they're not the best center pairing.
Right now, and I know it's crazy because it's swapped quite a lot, and that's rightly so, it should swap. But is Christian Wolf Dalian Coach of the Year right now? I know you've got Manly, Kieran Foran, but they've lost a little bit of momentum. Granted, they won a big win at the weekend.
Yep.
But
I'd hear arguments.
Put it this way, I'd hear arguments for it. I'd hear a debate for Christian Wolf being Dalian Coach of the Year. And I don't think anyone's talking about it at the moment.
I think your contenders are, this is going to be so fucking stupid to say based on how hard I went at him at the time. I think you'd have to hear arguments for Todd Payton. He's probably a tier below in terms of where he's at, but given he was going to lose his job in round 3, I could hear arguments for him. But I think the main contenders are Foz, Holbrook, Wolf, and then
Cleary.
Yeah. But even Webster.
True.
But yeah, I think I feel like most of the time the Coach of the Year is a most improved award.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to come down to Wolf and Foz, to be honest.
Another guy like Francis Molo, super underrated, gets through a bunch of work. Flegler, they just got everything sorted. They really do. Anything else quickly on the Dolphins?
No, I think that's
sweet. On to the Wars, the Warriors. Look, I don't think there's much to be upset or angry about. Gutsy as anything. Jackson Ford not there. Obviously Tanner Boyd, he can't come back, but he's also not there. Fisher Harris not there. I thought Sam Healy's moment was huge to win at the time was the match winner.
Yeah.
I thought that's, the confidence as a rookie essentially. I know he's played more than 4 games, but you understand what I'm saying. To make that play on the line, I'm telling you right now, if he gets held up and they had a play set up, he's getting rinsed within an inch of his life. To make that play, I thought that was huge. I know it's very hard to get more minutes into him because Egan is so good, but geez, I want to see some more footy from him. The Warriors, I think you could be relatively happy with how you played, considering you're a premiership threat. The Dolphins are as well. A little bit disappointing that Katoa went off and you couldn't find a way to put enough pressure on to get the job done, but I'm not too disappointed in the Wires, to be honest.
No, me neither. I think, as I said before, I think both sides would have walked away from this going, if we didn't know already, we are the real deal. I know we did it maybe last week or the week before as well, but I thought Jacob Laban in the air, he blew me away.
Yeah, he's been good this year. He has really stepped up this year.
Yeah, absolutely. But just as an aerial threat, I just thought that was quite impressive. And as I said before, I thought it was really good coaching from Webster to make a real point of kicking away from Bostock and Cobbo and more target that Herbie and Asako edge. Stour Smith again, just getting through a bunch of work, but also that save early on. That's one of the best try savers that I've seen from a front rower.
Mate, that try saving tackle. Look, he does all the good things. You can get your 150, 200 metres a game, all the typical things from a front rower, but to see a front rower doing stuff like that, that's what's going to separate him from the pack. It's stuff like that. That was an amazing try saver.
Yeah, it really was. And I think, Chance again looking like just a man on a mission on that wing spot. It always blows me away. Last few weeks watching him, and seeing what he's doing on that wing, like I've just got such vivid memories of him as a fullback at Canberra, and even when he's moved to the Wars, like how versatile he's been for him over the last sort of 12 months has been something that's quite exciting. And I think also he's obviously a very selfless guy, Chance. Like I think he would have had a fair enough argument to be like, no, like I want to fight for that fullback spot.
Yep.
But obviously he's just happy to play a role. It's probably allowed them to guarantee that they can keep Tuapiki long term.
Well, I got to say, like, even when there was a couple of years ago, he got not even a couple of years ago, maybe last year, he got re-signed for 3 more years. And there were a few people going, like, is he back into his career or whatever? I think he's proving why he got re-signed,
For sure.
because he can play multiple positions, and also he never kicks rocks. He tries his absolute backside off.
They've also lost Roger, which I guess isn't getting anywhere near as much attention as it would have, say, when they lost Roger like years ago in his first stint. It was like the world was ending. And it should be still, like, it's a big out. Like you've lost your 7, who was sort of the form 7 of the comp, but you've lost your senior player who's just got so much upside, and no one's really talking about it because the other guys are doing so well.
100%. But even like, sorry to bring it back to the Broncos, but like, for example, the Wars, Khan Pereira got him last year, or was it midway this year? Anyway, last year. Warbrick's arriving. Who else is arriving next year as well for the Wars? They got Grant Anderson, which I highly rate.
Huge, yeah.
Like even they're like jargon some pretty fucking good players from other clubs. There's someone else that's going there as well that I'm forgetting. But yeah, check the recruitments next year. But like, so heading into next year, like, I'm excited for the Wars. Like I actually think that yes, RTS is a big loss, but with the way Warbrick's playing now, it's outstanding. I think Grant Anderson will shore up some defense. What do you got there, Matty?
No, Grant Anderson, they got Riley Price, which is Steve Price's
Yeah,
son.
they just signed Riley Price. Yep.
That's
Love that.
all for next year.
Yep. And then they got
Legacy
obviously
signing.
Warbrick, your legacy signing. Yeah,
Oh,
but like,
Warbrick, yeah.
like Warbrick's he's a great signing. Like he's an international. So yeah. As I said, we can't spend too long, guys, because we've got to get through this. But I'm relatively happy with where the Warriors are at. I think right now it's the Panthers, and I actually think the Panthers have come back to the pack a little bit.
They have,
It's the Panthers, Dolphins, and Warriors at the moment, and then it goes probably Roosters, Manly.
I also love, like, to be honest with you, the 2 sides that we watched play on the weekend being the Dolphins and the Wars. Like, probably 2 of the more creative sides at the moment in the comp. Like, I think
it's not boring footy.
that scrum play for that Chance try, like, just so exciting. I think you're going to see these sides sort of evolve that towards the back end. They've probably got things in their back pocket that they're saving for later,
sure.
so it's exciting.
For sure. Okay, we'll get into... I actually thought, sorry, just quickly, I thought Eddie Jeremiah Tova, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Mate, I thought he was outstanding. And again, another fucking center's edge back rower that just a gun.
Yeah.
Just a gun. He came on, and I think he was at center for a period there. Or was he on the edge? I think he was at center. I'm pretty sure he was at center. He was outstanding.
They're just breeding these blokes for fun.
Yeah, and they had like this quick tip on for one of the tries. Comes on, so Eddie comes on, 58 minutes, a try assist, 115 meters, 43 post contact, tackle break, and 34 tackles, a line break assist, no errors. Like, they are stacked beyond belief, and he is 21 years old, bro.
Their bench is frightening. Their forward depth is frightening.
Yeah.
They're going to be good for years to come.
I know he's leaving, but we just spoke for a fair while about the Warriors. We didn't even talk about the guy who was leading the Dally M until he got injured last year. He was just sitting on their bench, didn't get used. Like, that's pretty good indication of where your depth's at.
I wonder how much I wonder what his role is going to be for the rest of the year. Obviously, we can't.
I think he's only there if things get real bad injury-wise. I think they're just going to try and back these guys in that are going to stay there for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think as well, it matters, like, whatever happened, because, like, if it's him that went immediately to the club and said, I want to release, it's very tough to play him because it's just not a good message to send to the playing group. But if it was the club that pushed him out, then I actually think he could be close to playing, because then the playing group's like, no, you're all the way in here.
Just quickly before we go off the wires, boys, I asked you a while ago, do you think they'll win a comp before 2030? Where are you sitting on it? Say a month
They're
down the
just,
track?
honestly, right now, even with Tanner in the side, I would argue they're a top. If you can just get me a top tier 7 in their side, I say 100%. Everything else is sorted.
And is that something that they're going to have to go out to market, you reckon? Is Jet Cleary going to become that guy?
I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, just quickly, and don't want to be too negative, but that they're probably their Achilles heel is their center's defense.
Yeah.
Their center's defense is something that needs to be sorted. Like, Ali Leataua in attack is a fucking beast. He's a big boy. So is Pompey. Absolute beast. But Nikodima was finding a lot of joy coming out of their end, and it is concerning for the Warriors that if some teams start to reveal that, okay, through the middle, you're going to get pumped if you go against the Warriors. But if you spread it early and get some early ball out to that centre, sometimes they can make some questionable reads. That's one area they've got to fix up. Otherwise, they'll never win a comp with both edges making poor reads.
Yeah, especially on like longer shifts. They just look like they really start to sort of second guess themselves. So, yeah, for sure.
But in attack, like they get through a bunch of work. Like in attack, Ali Leataua, 123 metres, Adam Pompey, 160 metres. But yeah, it's just so Idamai, he must have come on an edge back row then. He must have.
The centres played out the game, didn't they?
So maybe he was just out there, Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh no, Dallin, 56 minutes. So they would have moved Pompey to a wing, and Dallin came off 56 minutes ago. So he would have been centre there.
So he was at centre.
But yeah, so that is one negative from it. I thought their centres just, it hurt them a few times. Like even towards the end, I know it's a bit harsh, but like almost going for the obstruction penalty at the end there instead of like, maybe he wouldn't have gotten to him anyway, but it still hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the Cowboys. Guys, we're going to have to absolutely fucking sprint through these last games, so apologies, but you just don't have time. Let's get to the Cowboys. Honestly, I didn't think they had this in them. I genuinely didn't. And granted, it took the 300th game of an absolute legend of the game to bring this out, but I genuinely didn't think that this Cowboys squad had this kind of aggressive mongrel fight in them. I thought this is the best Cowboys game I've seen in probably since the year that they made a prelim. Now, I know that Panthers made a bunch of errors. I get all that, but I haven't seen a Cowboys team be this aggressive in a very long time.
Yeah, I tend to agree. They they made 13 errors, Kempy, and the reason why I bring that up and just to start is like I would argue that they were by no means clinical, but the passion and like the intent, it was probably the most spirited Cowboys.
When was the last time you've seen something like this? Like usually they out-attack their opponent or something like that.
Have you ever seen Moses Leota drop the ball off a back fence because he got fucking pumped?
No, it's mental.
Please. And like for them to get up, and the other thing that you don't see a lot from Moses is he looked like normally he's the aggressor and he plays like I think Moses Leota is like such a clean player, but sometimes when he puts it over someone else, he's the guy that's going, hey, like fucking, I'm the big dog. He got big dogged, and he was actually biting back, and he actually looked quite rattled for a guy who's done everything that he's done in the game. So I thought,
well, it literally never happens to him. Like it literally never happens to him. He is so good, Leota.
Yeah, so you could tell from that first shot into like the push and shove off the back of it, like they were on. And this Cowboy side is a scary side. They did this to a team, and I know it was Jason Taumalolo's 300th game, but Panthers lost last week. There was a bit of an undertone that, well done at the Titans, but also like if you're a Panthers fan, you probably thought we had a lot of guys out.
Yeah,
they come back in. They're all playing for origin spots, those guys. But they got fucking bested.
And granted, like their completion rate was terrible.
I think it was evident, but like just on the Taumalolo thing, remember game 295 where he broke the Cowboys record? I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks ago, had to have been. And they got beat by the Eels, and it was pretty embarrassing, to be honest. Like the Eels went up there and beat them. The Eels hadn't won in like 6 or 7 weeks. So like, I know it's hindsight, but then you see the footage of Todd Payton saying Jason Taumalolo's never won a milestone game. It's no wonder they're up for it.
That was a sick edit too.
That was sick. And it was bloody awesome.
Well, it kind of goes back to my point around, and look, maybe this won't be the case, but like senior players and GOATs and that, with Toto on the wing for the Blues, they mean more than other players. And so I think one of Peyton's biggest mistakes was when he arrived at the club, he for some reason wanted to, I guess, diffuse the responsibility, and he almost singled Taumalolo out to a degree. And I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to challenge a great player and say, you can be even better. So I get it. But I think it was a mistake because you can clearly see Taumalolo, as much as anyone else wants to talk in that side, he is still the idol of a lot of players there. He is still the senior player that if he says to do something, probably has more sway than anyone in that whole building of the Cowboys.
Yeah, and I love that, like if you actually look at the arc of his career, he bursts onto the scene. He signs one of the first and one of the only 10-year deals that we saw. And there's a lot of chat around him the entire time, like even through them winning the comp and that run he went on in 2017. There was a lot of yarn around him going, this is unbelievable. We've never seen anything like it, but he's taking years off his career playing at this intensity and doing what he's doing. You see Peyton come in and he sort of goes the opposite way and he's pulling him back. And rather than people going, oh, actually, that would make a lot of sense if what we were saying is true. Like he needs to have his minutes managed. It goes the opposite way and everyone's going, what the fuck are we doing here? And it, for a lot of it, looked like it wasn't Jason's decision. So he would have been sitting there quite frustrated. And I think for a certain period of time, there were a lot of people sort of, were very fickle and short-term in rugby league. People sort of forgot the kind of player he was. The form he's found over the last 12 months again.
Well, see, I reckon Todd Payton got to the point where he was like, you know what? Regardless of how I feel what is right here, me and him need to get back on side. Because for whatever bizarre reason, it just, since he arrived at the club, it didn't look like they clicked that well. It looks like they click now.
Yeah, and like, it was so clear how much like he means to that side. Like they're sort of on the fringe of the 8 at the moment.
Well, technically they'll be in the 8. If you give them, if they've got enough wins to be in the 8. But in regards to the game, guys, and apologies, we're going to have to be quicker in this game, but service of the week, the Astley Mazda service of the week, it's the Nanai catch for the Cowboys. Service to his club. He's been in and out of, he's been in and out of the team this year with injuries, and he's on a big wicket. You need these guys to stand up, and that catch, I mean, unbelievable. Like as soon as he started running, you could see in his body language, no one is taking that ball off me. I will bowl through 4 blokes if I have to get there. And that's all brought to you by SC Mazda. Now, guys, it is July 19th that this ends, this offer. So you have to get on board before it. If you need a car, go to Lukey the Car Man, LDC_01. If you buy a new or used car through Lukey and you mention Bloke, you have a chance to be gifted a day at Suncorp Stadium with me, Alex Glenn, Jarrell Yayi in a suite, and Lukey the Car Man. You and a friend, and also Alex Glenn will take you into the locker room of the Broncos after the game is finished. So that is going to be August 1st, or Saturday at Suncorp Stadium, August 1st, guys. So this is nearly over. Very, very nearly over. If you need a car, give Lukey a message, LDC_01. Lukey also does finance as well. So if you need finance, give him a message. But you don't want to miss this opportunity. Money can't buy experience. But Nanai going up for that catch, no one was stopping him. Like, literally no one.
No. And he did it to the Penrith Panthers.
Yeah.
On that edge that's sort of known for having aerial threats.
Yeah.
Like, and his whole game, like, the only knock that I've ever heard on Nanai is his defence, and by extension of his defence, some of his effort areas. But from the start of this game, he was just so up and about. I genuinely believe, like, I don't know whether he was on the verge of making this side, whether they had him in there already. He had a game on the weekend where it was like, you can't not pick this guy. Like,
Well, I reckon Billy called him.
I don't know what the fuck he said, but like...
He would have said, mate, I need everything you got. If you want to make this Queensland squad, give me everything you got.
And I reckon he gave Billy no choice, because the thing is, like, the effort areas and everything that you would question with Nanai initially, he completely put that to bed on the weekend. Like, if he's playing like that, that's never a problem. To have a guy in your team that has a play like that in him, especially if he's going to be on the same edge, I imagine, as Jojo Fafita, that scares the shit out of me.
You know what I'm hearing, though? Edwards to be dropped too short.
Really? Imagine like all the Panthers boys walking around wearing like lifts now. Like lifts in their shoes. Standing on their like tippy toes and shit all the time.
He got out jumped. Got to go. He's got to go. It's not good enough.
Hard to get around.
But yeah, that play, I mean, and Nanai, like, not only that play, but the shot on Leota, you don't see that. Leota, I can't remember a time where Leota's been shot. He's usually the one doing the shotting.
Yeah. Also, just speaking of shots, awful optics, and I hope Papali is okay. But what about when Jason Taumalo buried him?
Oh, Jesus.
Like, yeah, it was a real physical game. I really enjoyed it.
I can't remember the last time a Cowboys played that physical. Nanai from the get-go, you got Taumalolo, steamroll. It was incredible.
And I think it is going to be, like you said before, Kempy, that at this stage the Panthers have sort of come back to the pack a little bit, and I think that's a little bit of them dropping back, but also teams like the Dolphins sort of going up a bit. If that Cowboys team finishes in the bottom 4 of the 8,
you don't want to play them because you just don't know.
That. Like, there's no teams normally respectfully, and anything can happen in finals footy and in the NRL, but most of the time you get a clear vibe of these teams will be there at the back end. I think the bottom 4 could be one of the most unpredictable bottom fours.
Well, the Cowboys went with the Dolphins for 60 minutes. Like they did. Yep. Now, I know it's, the 20 minutes of championship minutes. But yeah, so like we can't spend too long, guys, on the Cowboys. Apologies. But yeah,
one quick thing about the Cowboys, sorry. They got the Manly and Dolphins next, which is hard. Then they got Broncos, Roosters, Titans, Eels, by Tigers, Raiders. Like, they're making the finals.
Yeah,
surely.
I think so.
Yeah.
I just quick shout out to Thomas McKaylee as well. And also Jakey Clifford. Like, fuck. Mate, if you had said to me, like, they don't have Dearden as well. That's another thing. They don't have Dearden.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about it.
Yeah.
Pretty important.
Yeah. And I think Jake Clifford, like, seeing him seal it, like, such a classic 7 seal the game. Just an unadulterated show and go off the left foot, bang, to seal it. Like, I thought that was awesome. It's interesting, though, they obviously get better when Dearden comes back. Like, that's a given.
Purdue goes back to centre.
He goes back to centre. I don't hate, though, like, if something was to happen, like, similar dynamic to what happened with the Wires where Tanner Boy goes down. So let's say if they were to lose Dearden again or if something happened to Clifford, they're a good, different sort of version of the Cowboys if Purdue's at 6.
I mean, he's silky. He is silky. So really, really good win for the Cowboys. On to the Panthers. Now, I'm not saying that this is definitely the case, but I remember at the start of the year when they were going as well as they were going, I was like, the only negative to what is happening right now is if they fatigue mid-year or back end of the season. I don't know that that's what's happening, but I'm getting more information that suggests that might happen because that's 2 losses back-to-back against teams that they should put away.
Yep.
Sloppy as anything. In the end, it was a relatively, 26-12, so it wasn't like it was a 2-point loss. A low completion rate. Losing the meters run battle, losing the post contact, losing the line break battle, tackle breaks about the same, losing the average set distance, slower play the balls only by a little bit though. They're looking flat. They're looking flat, and I just wonder was so much focus on the start of the year that they're fatiguing because last year was such a slow start and it probably cost them a top 4 finish, you could argue. They're looking flat, the Panthers.
They are. I think it's to be expected with the origin period. I think it's actually going to work in their favour, whatever the fuck happened with Brian Toto with the Blues. I think that's going to reinvigorate him a little bit. On the flip side to what you just said, last year they didn't have the luxury of being able to rest guys. They had to win every game. It was a crazy run they went on, and they still almost got it done.
Yep. And let's be clear, they're still ahead of the fucking comp by 2 wins.
They're the short price favourites. I think that it's going to work in their favour this year that they did start so hard. They'd have to do a lot wrong to miss the 4. As long as they get a top 4 finish, like they've seen this movie 1,000 times.
And they're locked into top 4.
Which is, I think, the main thing they'd be looking at. So I think you're going to see that they'll manage guys' workloads for the last 6 weeks.
It's funny. It's very like Melbourne-esque where like you get your points early in the season. Melbourne have built a fucking dynasty on that.
Yes.
Um,
and, last year, they didn't have that luxury. They hadn't had to go, like the first year they won a premiership, they ended up going the long way because they lost to Souths in the first week. But they still had the 2 chances.
Yeah.
They were still a premier team. Whereas coming from essentially last after 12, 13 rounds, like they hadn't really had to do that before either. So I think they're going to be in a position this year at the back end, regardless of whether it's first, fourth, somewhere in between. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. I think, I've still got them as favourites for sure. But just come back to the pack a little bit, I think. They've lost a little bit of that aura of the first 5 to 6 weeks where it was like, literally no one's going to beat this team.
And I think for the first time in a long time, they're looking at sides where I would argue for the last 5 years, maybe the Broncos to an extent last year, but it still caught everyone by surprise. I reckon most sides that they've gone up against, Melbourne being the main competitor with them over the last 4 or 5 years, they've known that if we're on and we're at our best, we win this game. I think the style, especially with their attack that the Dolphins and the Wires are playing at the moment, I don't know if you can be so sure. I think you almost have to rely on trying to out-system these guys, and I think these guys are playing a brand of attack where it disrupts quite the well-built generic defensive system that Penrith sort of rely on.
Just quickly, I thought Blaze didn't have his best nights, and I thought Isaac Tungo didn't have his best nights either. And the tough thing for Blaze is it's like what I said last week. Like I do think he's still in the area of he's still too young to put all the blame on him. But it's one thing to not, put the shoulder on your back, put the team on your back when your main guy's away. But it all is another thing is like you still can't make 3 errors. You still got to do your job to a degree. So I do think pressure's ratcheting up a little bit on Blaze, a little bit. And Isaac Tunga, unfortunately, had a poor game. So yeah, interesting to see what they do there.
Yeah, it will be for sure.
Okay. But I still am of the mind of you can't put all the blame on Blaze, but he still can't afford to have those kind of errors and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. I think he'll turn it around. He's still very, very young. 20 years old, 21 years old.
So young, yeah. But
so young.
for me, I think he's locked in there too. Like, I don't think Jack Cogger has set the world
Well,
alight when he's come in.
Where he is. But it's more just like, I'm talking more of the noise will start.
Yeah, it will. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And so I don't want that to happen for Blaze. I want him to get enough time to develop into the player we know he can be. Okay, on to Seagulls defeating the Melbourne Storm. And look, the Bushranger Battler of the Week, it is OLAKAU'ATU. That's right. The Bushranger Battler of the Week is brought to you by Bushranger Power Equipment. Tough, reliable gear built for hardworking Aussies. Whether you're on the tools on the land or sorting the backyard on the weekend, Bushranger is built to get the job done. Bro, OLAKAU'ATU comes out and just says, fucking get out of my way. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't believe we even have to talk about him having a response to being dropped. It's still ridiculous. But, like, especially on that first try when he just hit it off 9, I was honestly like, I can't even tell you how quickly I would move out of the way.
Yep.
Like, how would you even dream of stopping that? Like, he was just on such a mission. Like, I love that he's responding in this way. And I said this when they made the decision to sort of drop him out of our blue side initially, but you couldn't have blamed him. And I thought he might have had a bit more in him of like the fuck you approach. And you couldn't have blamed him for it. But he sort of just bit his tongue, and he's definitely just let his football do the talking, and he's found new levels that didn't even know were possible.
This is why he's a champion. How many players have we seen being treated probably arguably unfairly? And they go back to club and their confidence is shot because they are just like devastated at what's happened. He goes back to club and says, nah, I'm going to a whole new level. So he goes back the last time, runs for 130 post-contact meters, like 180 normal meters. Then he comes out and he puts 2 tries on. Like, there really aren't many back rowers that can go and do what he did in response. Like, he's pretty much the only one that could do what he did in response. And
then he knocks out Moses Leo off the next kickoff, essentially. Like, it's
Jesus, he's a problem, absolute problem. I just love his attitude, and I just think that it shows the maturity of the guy. Like, maybe a few years ago he probably steps back and goes, loses a bit of confidence. But I love the fact that Kieran Foran has continued to build his confidence. Don't listen to that. It's just a selection. 2 tries, 158 metres, 79 post-contact, 7 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 21 tackles, only 2 missed, no errors. Like, what a knock. What a knock from the big fella.
Yeah, great knock. And I think I'm also loving Paseka at the moment, like what he's doing. I just think that we're going to look back on this season and even talking about what we were speaking about earlier in the year when Manly were last, they'd replaced their coach, and we were saying like the lack of depth in their middles is just overwhelming. Like, what Foz has been able to do with this existing playing group is unbelievable. Like, obviously you got Paseka there and he's playing how he's playing.
Nathan Brown, you argued cost him the game last week. Not cost him, but poor play at the end with some ball playing.
Yes.
Talk about a response.
Mate.
And that's Kieran Foran doing that.
But no Hetherington there on the weekend, who's been huge. But you then got Paseka, Bullimore, Brown. Like, these guys that, they were all there at the start of the year. When we were there going, fuck, like, what are they going to do? Like, massive credit to Foz and those guys for being able to do what they've done, turning it around. Like,
but Nathan Brown's performance was like, is that one of the best games he's ever played? Nathan Brown?
I reckon.
He was
definitely since his time at the Eels.
And again, that is such great coaching. Like, usually a play like that, you go into your shell, you go, oh crap, like that was a poor pass or whatever. But for Kieran Foran to instill such confidence in him, no, mate, like, you are still a part of these plans. You are still a valuable member of this. And he has the best game of the season for himself. It's crazy.
It is. I also, obviously devastating for Brooks to get injured like that. And you never want to see that happen.
Like, he's finally about to play some finals footy.
I know. It is awful for him.
Cruel game.
But like anything in footy, like there's always, when something bad like that happens to a player, it means someone else gets an opportunity. And I think this is massive for Joey Walsh. I think because they were going so well, and I think Brooks has been very good as well since we were having the conversation, does Walsh come in? I think Brooks has really responded well to that. Does this save them from having a tough conversation at the back end? I think they are different if Walsh is now coming in at 6 like it is a bit more of a threat potentially. Like it's gonna be interesting to watch. Like that's obviously a new combination or combinations that they're gonna have to build, but I think it could be really exciting for Joey Walsh to come
It definitely saves a tough conversation because you'd have to assume he's going to take someone's spot next year.
Yeah.
And this, Brooks is not going to be available for the start next year, I'd assume. What about Benny Travojevic? He's another guy. Like, mate, he spent years basically being a guy of like, he's got a lot of potential. And then every single year you'd see flashes of it and then it would just kind of fade away. And it was getting to the point, I think even this year I was like, you know what? Like, they may tap him on the shoulder and say, mate, like, it's just not getting where we think it's going to get. And then, boom, Foreign takes over. He has been phenomenal.
Yeah, he has. And I've always thought that he, over the last few weeks especially, the attacking creativity that he brings in terms of what they can do with him and his ball skills is amazing. But, like, the try from dummy half against Melbourne, and I know it's not like the peak Melbourne that we know, but they've been pretty good over the last month relative to what they were at the start of the year. Like, to score a dummy half try against Melbourne is like, that's a complete attitudinal thing. I think his physicality and his aggression is what I've
confidence,
noticed.
like to back himself,
Love it.
It's just crazy. Another guy like, it's Kohler, goes back, has a try, 200 run meters, 76 post contact, 4 tackle breaks, a line break, an offload, 13 tackles, only 1 miss, with no errors. Like, look, I get to a degree, Bradman best experience, big games, but oh man, if I was, because Kohler would be sitting there going like, I know everyone else is saying, well, Bradman Best has done it in the big, Suncorp before, but Kohler would be sitting there saying, why can't I do it? Like, why is it that you think he can do it, but I can't do it after what I've done already in Origin and then what I've done at Clubland? Like, he has been one of the best centers for at least a year and a half, 2 years now.
I do like the Bradman pick, but yeah, to your point, Kempy, I think that Tolu couldn't have done much more.
But we all like it because but everyone likes it because we're assuming that because he's done it before, he's more likely to do it again.
Well, it's
whereas Kohler form-wise has been better this year because he's played more footy, obviously. Who's to suggest Kohler can't do it in a big game?
Sorry, I think it's the wrong term because we know that. I understand the thinking. I just think that Tolu couldn't have done much more. And again, it just comes back to the inconsistency around other selections. Because even if they've looked at it and gone, you know what, Bradman's come in, he's been parachuted in for 2 big games before he's delivered. Tolu's been amazing under tough circumstances the last 2 games. We'll keep him on the bench as like
Different
a break the glass
well.
cover guy. Yeah. So I could understand that, but fuck, like you look at how he played on Saturday.
Well, I'm just trying to look at it from his perspective. Like,
and he'd
you know what I
be
mean?
gutted, and he has every right to be.
He's sitting there going, why can't I have a big game up at Suncorp? Like, why is there just an assumption that I can't do that?
It's
because
tough.
he's done everything in his power to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, another guy just quickly, Josh Felody, sorry. Is it
Felody. Yeah.
Felody?
Josh Felody.
Mate, I just, that little moment where he just got hyper aggressive and
Dragged over the sideline.
yeah, and you saw a bit of the Battle of Brookie in there again. Mate, he was great. Exactly what they needed, just a fucking tough centre to get in and amongst it. I thought he was great. Tommy did his job. He still looks a little bit holding himself back, but great win. I was totally wrong. I thought Storm were going to ambush him well. I kept saying I feel like Manly have got a bit of the wobbles. Well, I was absolutely incorrect with that call. Now we're just going to be really quick on the Storm before we move on. But mate, like, if you're Bellamy, you must be sitting there going, "What the fuck is going on with this side?"
I still think it's their middles, Campy. I think they're just still a little bit too big, and I think if they don't absolutely dominate that initial 20 minutes,
And make a quick ruck for them to exploit.
Yeah, well, for their spine and then play off the back of it, I think that they just get found out through guys on the other team that are a bit more
No Hughes as
explosive
well, though, I guess. No Hughes does hurt.
Of course it does, yeah, for sure. But I think some shining lights, obviously, Sewer, what he's doing,
my God.
Will Warbrick.
This is a team that lost 30-4. This is what Fa'alongo's stats are. 22 runs, 223 metres, 58 post contact, 11 tackle breaks, a line break, 3 offloads, no errors. And you got beaten 30-4.
Yeah.
There are very few fullbacks in the game getting pumped 30-4 that would have those stats.
Oh, very few. And I think that's also, you look at their back five, and he's got 223 run meters, Warbrick 213. then the other guys there, like Joe Chan had 44. I know he got injured. Mose Leo was the same, but like even the guys that came on and replaced him, like Tumaladu Brown, he had 70 meters. Like those two at the back, what they do for that side, and I think that's why maybe the last few weeks it hasn't been as obvious that their middles are so big because they do get through so much work at the back. I just think that, I thought this game was a really good example of that, where a couple of half chances where you're just able to capitalise on not being as mobile laterally. So.
And you've also got a Manly that can spread you apart as a defence as well, going from side to side, which the big boys don't like. So can't spend too long on the Storm, guys, because we've already spoken at Origin. Let's get straight into the Raiders versus Dragons. We can't spend too long on this, guys, because, as you know. Okay, Raiders defeat the Dragons 24-16. Let's get to the controversial call. What are we doing? Now, I saw one clip come up on my Instagram where they were saying that the bunker was essentially implying that was a pass from Sasangi. And I was like, did the bunker ever say anything about a pass?
I didn't hear that. I just thought
that doesn't make it any less.
Seems like an
dumb for me.
assumption.
Yeah, I know. It makes it just as dumb. But again, the snippet that I saw, they weren't excusing it, but they were like, the NRL is putting themselves into the back of a corner because that was a pass and they can't rule on it. But I was like, I didn't hear the bunker say anything about it.
Also, it isn't a pass. He touched it with his hand.
Yeah, so I don't get that argument. I don't understand that. That was a clear touch. And I'm not saying that the snippet was saying that it was not a touch, but I'm just saying, like, even to bring that into the combo, I didn't hear the bunker say, like, Sasangi has passed it here. So tell me how that isn't a knock on when Xavier Savage is in front of him.
Well, the dumbest thing.
And he was offside too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if he does touch it, which he clearly did, it is offside. Now, if he wanted to rule it was accidental offside, then it's a knock on. Anyway, the dumbest bit about it for me is in commentary, someone said live, they're like, the hesitation from the referees on field. It makes sense for the referees on field to let that play out. Because let's say he didn't touch it.
Yeah, 100%.
You let it play through, it's a try, then we review it. And that's what they've been.
That's good reffing.
Good reffing. It's what they've been trained to do. It's exactly how it played out. So for the commentators to be like, I don't know about that. It's like, if they make that call on the spot and it's wrong, everyone goes, what are you doing? Like, let it play through. It always makes sense to let it play through.
100%.
And you back the technology and you back the guys in the bunker. I just don't understand, like, especially when you're in the middle of negotiating a broadcast deal and, like, it's such a clown show. And to be honest, it ended up being the difference, realistically.
How can you look at that? We even have a player, like, it's not like it bounced on the deck and, like, whatever. We have a player that is clearly in front of Sasangi catch the ball.
But he also so clearly touches it. Like, there's, like, 3 different angles they show, and it's like, it is way more likely that he touches it than he doesn't. The ball changes direction. You can see it on his hand. Like, I just don't get it. Like, you can even see on Savage's face.
Like, he's like looking back.
He's like, oh, fuck, really?
And even Sasangi, I think, turns around straight away.
Yeah.
I would kind of forgive it if it hits the decks and bounce around a little bit. And, like, okay, that's how we couldn't see because of the camera angle. But you can clearly see Savage ahead of him catch the ball.
Yeah.
Grab the ball.
Look, to me, outside of, like, Justin Olam, like, we're not physicians here in rugby league, right? And I hate the argument people talk about. I always am the first guy to go, why the fuck aren't we ruling on forward passes? And people go, because sometimes it hits and backwards out of the hands. And that was a perfect example of why that argument is complete bullshit. Everyone knew that it went forward.
Everyone.
It was so obvious. Like, we should be able to rule on that. Like, the idea that even if you were to run with the argument it was a pass, which it wasn't, or what, does that make it a tap on?
Like a tap on or something.
They didn't even have the fucking ball. Like, even if you run with that argument.
One of the GOAT tap-ons all time.
Yeah.
I'm going to tap this onto my other mate to intercept it.
Yeah, what do we say? How's it a pass? If
I know, that's what I mean, bro.
possession?
It just, please don't. It's just.
I'd find it easier to argue that it was a shot put.
I know freeze framing is dumb, but you can make a small argument that maybe he's not in front of him, but the ball undoubtedly travels forward. Undoubtedly.
And he touched it. Like, it was so obvious.
And he obviously touched it, yeah. It was a
I
shocker.
think you can see clearly that he is in front of him. I think it's pretty clear that when Xavier Savage grabs that ball, he's in front of him. If you want to do the argument about, like, was he in front of him as the ball was going through the air, therefore it's not an offside, but I kind of feel like it's...
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty... Like, if you want to say, okay, it wasn't a penalty because he wasn't offside,
Yes.
okay, sweet, whatever.
It's 50 shades of no try, though. Like, however you fucking try and argue
I can't believe it, bro.
But it was a knock-on.
There's a knock on every day of the week.
Yes.
Anyway, and so I can forgive play refs in the flow of things, but not video refs. I just couldn't believe that one. Anyway, Look, Raiders did what they had to. I thought the Dragons were super brave. I think they just killed themselves in the second half. I just think that they set the game up so well. Super brave, and even for periods there, they were dominating the Raiders. Second half they were their own worst enemy, and like it kills me because they get back into the game, and I think it's Sloan that scores a try, and then he drops the ball cold.
Yeah, that was a tough error.
And it's just like, bro, like, you've been in first grade for so long. Like, yeah, you just can't have those errors in key moments.
The Sloan one's a really tough one because you're right. He has been around first grade for a long time, but he hasn't really been given a heap of opportunity consistently under the same coach. But then you see things like this and you go, oh, that's why. Like, it's like this double-edged sword. And
well, he plays well. Like, he was gun. I'm pretty sure he scored the try to get him back in it.
He did.
And then it's just like, far out. Like,
you know what, though? I think on the other side of that, like that error that and it was an unforced error. He should have caught the ball. But I do think Sanders kicked really well. Like, he's obviously had a tough month in terms of, like, we've spoken a lot about him and, like, is it worth giving him a bit of time off or whatever? But, like, that kick he put in for Hudson Young,
brilliant.
Great finish from Huddy, but, like, that tool in their arsenal where they kick for Huddy, because obviously Huddy's so dangerous with the ball, teams come up real quick on him. So having guys that can just sort of nail that early kick is going to be something that's huge for him.
Yep.
So I thought he was really good, but it's just, it's hard with the Sloan one. I think they should stick with him because I think the upside's there and you got nothing to lose at the moment, to be honest. I would still have him. I know he's been around a long time, but he's still reasonably young. So I'd be keeping him in that conversation of back him in, let him learn from the mistakes and the errors.
You don't think he's been backed in?
I don't think he has because, to be honest, like
He's played 87 NRL games.
He has. He also was like an elite fullback coming through, and he's barely been given a spot at fullback, which I get. Like,
he's been given cracks at fullback, and because he is, has inconsistent games, is why he doesn't keep that jersey.
I just think it's so hard because there was a point in time, Kempy, and obviously the way it's aged, but there was a point in time where he was a young gun. He was a fucking gun. Like
coming
Bud
Sullivan,
through SG,
Amon,
and all those guys, and like especially with Bud and with Sloan, like. There was a point in time to back him in. You weren't doing that well anyway. Nothing that you were going to do was going to move the needle too much, and they didn't at that point, and I think that's cost them. So the fact that they're playing him now on the wing and he's got some errors in him,
I don't mind errors. It's just that one's like that's a
end over end.
Straight, you just got to catch him. Listen, if it's a competition for the ball or something a bit harder, sweet. But I'm not saying he's the only reason they lost it, but it's just like, Anyway. In regards to the Raiders, look, they just needed to find a way. I thought Owen Paddy, that 40-20 was brilliant. Really did switch momentum for him. I thought Sasangi being brought back into the side, geez, I tell you what. No, it was the Dragons, but he really is the missing piece of the puzzle when it comes to that right edge defense.
Defensively it was huge. Like also 95 post-contact meters.
Mental, bro.
Just the variation that he offers them too in terms of creativity, and he can just beat you in so many ways. So,
mate, he ran for 238 meters.
Yep.
95 post contact, 6 tackle breaks, no errors in his first game back.
Yeah, and the majority of their side ran for over 100 meters, Kempy, which is like normally a good indicator of where things are at. Like it's frustrating because I do think that they had the capability to make the 8 this year, but I still sit more in the camp of look to the future. I'll get a lot out of this year moving forward.
I think it's become pretty clear that Strange has to be on that left edge.
Yeah.
Like, I know they were building towards the future, and I really do admire Ricky Stewart for having the guts to, like, really look towards the future. But I think that he's done enough of that now. Owen Paddy is ready. Strange go on that side. Sanders, if he can't work it out on the right side, then we've got Kobe Black there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. That no try as well where Couchman saved it, where
oh my God,
Strange got the ball, there was nothing doing, and then he just gone bang, bang with the footwork, and essentially out of nothing, almost scored a try. Took a pretty crazy effort.
Out of literally nothing. And there were multiple times where if he had just had someone hitting holes outside him when he was coming back inside him, something would have happened. That try save from Couchman though, like, fuck.
He's elite already, but he's going to be something so special. And like, the other thing is when you got those two guys, Strange and Hudson Young, you put them together, you know that inside 20, and there was a lot of games like this that they won last year, you get enough good ball, you're going to get points. They will find a way. It might be off a kick. It might be Hudson crabbing back against the grain. Might be him finishing it off in a corner. They'll get something. You know what I mean? So I think they just need to lean into that for the back end. It's going to keep them in games, and they'll win more than. There's been a lot of games this year that they could have won.
Yeah.
You know?
It's tough because like they're so far on the bottom of the ladder or close to it, but they actually haven't been that bad when you watch them play.
I'd hate to be a Raiders fan because I think if you actually went back, especially in the first 10, 12 rounds, there was a heap of games where it was in the balance. They could have won it and they didn't. And you give them 3 or 4 of those wins, all of a sudden we're having different conversations.
Yeah. I thought Tarpane outstanding. I thought Ata Mariota outstanding as well.
Yeah.
So look, they got the win. Sanders definitely looked better. I'm stoked for him. 20 tackles, only 2 missed as well, which is good. It's they seem to have settled to a degree on their roster. I feel sorry for Tamale. I will say this, like, look, obviously, tough day for Tamale, but he was being targeted, I think, more than I've ever seen a player be targeted. Like, they couldn't stop kicking to him.
For sure. And it was good scenes from, like, Ricky Stewart backing him in as well. Like, I know he didn't seem, like, stoked about the whole thing, but...
Just communicating with him. Because, like, when you get brought off as a young kid, you're like... It's very hard to... You mix business with pleasure. And what I mean by that is like... You feel like the coach doesn't like you as a person. It's just so personal to you because it means so much to you. And as a young player, sometimes it's hard to separate that. And I like that Ricky Stewart, rubbed him on the head, said, mate, it's all good, just to dispel the fears. Because if he doesn't have that conversation with him, I guarantee you Tamale goes back, lies in bed and goes, fuck, the coach is off me. I've let everyone down. I'm a fucking bad person. You start connecting it to yourself as a person.
Yeah.
It's only natural. So good from him. And yeah, as I said, in Tamale's defense, like, he was getting peppered, absolutely peppered with crossfield kicks. And I know Raiders fans, oh, come on, mate. Like, he was, I get it. I'm not saying it was a bad decision to take him off. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying, like, there was a lot of pressure put on him.
Yeah, and the Dragons did a great job of getting at him. And to be honest, like, I think that's just good coaching. Like, the relationship side afterwards is great coaching. But in the moment, pulling the trigger on that, making a call, like, it's obviously a very public thing to do.
He saw that this is going to get worse for this bloke.
Yes.
At the very least, I just can get him off the field. We win the match. It's not a disaster. If he stays on the field, they might lose, and all of a sudden he has to take that loss on his shoulders.
Yeah, so I think that's just good coaching, and you hesitate on that any longer. Like you said, they might get another try out of it.
Yep.
They might make you pay, and it might cost you 2 points. So yeah.
We can't sit on the Dragons much, guys. Apologies, because we have to wrap this up. But they're looking much better. Robbed of a very, very poor call, in my opinion. Should have been a closer game. Okay, on to the Knights v Tigers. Good old-fashioned slinger on a Sunday, and which is bizarre, because if you had said Knights and Tigers are going to have a slinger, I would have said you're off your head. This is going to be 40 points to 30, but it wasn't. I want to talk about the NordVPN Defense Player of the Week. Kalen Ponga's chase down of Makasini was unbelievable, and it shows you how much he has developed into a leader. KP never lacked effort, but in saying that, like, can I imagine KP of 5 years ago making that play? I'm not sure. The leader that I see in front of me now, I know he's making that play. That is a game-defining play. That is a match winner, and that is Kalen Ponga and how far he's come as a leader. That was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, such an origin play. I found this one. I didn't find this one as much of a slinger as most people did. Like, it certainly wasn't like say the Dolphins Wars game. I think people watched that. That was like watching a finals game to me. Whereas this nice Tigers game, I thought it was pretty good. It's just interesting that, like, off that Brown no try early on, where they shift out of their own edge down that right side, Newcastle. Like, a team that is so, I reckon they're probably the most dangerous out of yardage in terms of when they do those early shifts.
Them and Manly.
Them and Manly. But it's weird, like, to have such a low scoring game with a team like that, where like you can just score points from anywhere, was a bit bizarre.
The scary thing for the Tigers is, like, they actually completed 83%. It was the Knights that fucking couldn't hold the ball.
Yes, and I think probably one of those games that they'll be stoked that they came away with the 2 points when, I saw a lot of
it was 14 errors each, but still.
Yeah, a lot of the commentary from the Tigers content creators and fans on social media was very, like, they were frustrated they didn't win. And I think the Knights, like, it took some pretty crazy plays to come out of it, like Dom Young essentially going 60 metres to find Bradman, like...
Mental. I will say I feel a bit sorry for Makasini because, like, he missed that tackle of him coming out, but his shoulder was clearly busted. Like, that's why he missed the tackle. His shoulder was busted.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, just quickly, the Ponga chase down is the NordVPN Defense Player of the Week. The NordVPN Defense Player of the Week It is back. I was overseas before the season, and NordVPN myself. I use NordVPN myself. Sporting events, TV shows, movies, you name it. I watched it like I was back home. It was super convenient. Another great feature is that you can switch your virtual location to so many different places in the world. This allows you to save money by purchasing flights, hotels, subscriptions from other countries at a cheaper price. It's also super safe. NordVPN provides you with privacy online, leaving no digital footprint by hiding your IP address. It's like you're wearing an invisibility cloak. To get the best discounts off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/bloke. That is nordvpn.com/bloke. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan, and there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the podcast episode description box. Okay, in regards to, you could actually see KP after the game go, oh, that was rough.
Yeah.
I know that, look, they got the win. They are actually sitting, as we speak, the Newcastle Knights are currently sitting equal second on wins. Now, their points differential puts them at 5th. However, equal second for the Newcastle Knights, incredible. And they're finding ways to win. Yeah, like it's getting a bit shaky, but that doesn't matter. We're talking about a team that won the Spoon last year, favourite by a lot of people, including myself, to be in the bottom 2. Absolutely amazing stuff. Just quickly, I loved Lucas's response. Bradman Best also. Dom Young, that play coming out of his end, like watching a super athlete move like that.
So good.
I think people just get so used to him doing that you go, oh yeah, this guy, I'll tell you how tall this guy is and how big he is. Moving like that. 200 centimeters, 107 kilos, moving like that.
I actually thought he had one of his best games, and he didn't even score a try, Dom Young.
Unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable stuff. And I just think that Holbrook deserves, like, he is getting the best out of so many players in this night side.
Yeah, he obviously had 2 main line breaks. That one early on the Dylan Brown, I think it was on the Dylan Brown no try, where he was actually standing at centre.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like intentional or if it just out of yardage, like they just happened to be like that, but where he came in and stood at centre and he was just closer to the ball. But once you sort of see him open up, like how would you stop that? Like,
How do you stop that? 100%. So,
the other guy, quickly, Kemi too, like
Yep.
he obviously kicked a 40-21 point, but I think Phoenix Crossland is potentially the most underrated spine player in the comp in terms
64 tackles.
of we did. Like, and obviously it makes sense that he is the most underrated when you look at the other guys in the spine. But he is so important to their side. Like, even the way that they I spoke about it last week, but sometimes when they'll use him off an edge, where they'll get a centre or a winger, feed him, and
Well, he played a bit of
ball play.
13 as well under Adam O'Brien.
When he came through as a 7. So like seeing them utilise that to free up guys like Dill Brown and KP a bit more too. It's a nice little variation, but yeah, thought he's been pretty special.
Yep, Fletcher Sharp, phenomenal. I wouldn't actually mind him in the bloody 19 jersey for the Blues.
Could do a lot worse.
But yeah, look, great stuff. I feel like Trey Mooney was solid again. Dylan Lucas, great. Jermaine McEwen, I love him as a player. I think he's a gun. And yeah, Cody Hopwood, he's a young fella, one to watch, young front rower, highly touted. So interested to see how he goes going forward. But yeah, it's a solid win for the Knights, considering it was a bit scrappy. On to the Tigers. Just scrappy, bro. Like it's hard because the Knights are scrappy as well. I will say, like, even though I felt Dewey played well, he does sometimes fall into the bad habits of, like, he overplays his hand and takes away. They looked a little bit clunky in attack at times, whereas when they're really balanced well, he gives, like, Luai and him work well together, and I think they just ran into the fact that they haven't played together in quite a while. Thoughts on the Tigers, mate?
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. Can be like, I think it was obvious that they need to sort of rebuild the combos and the dynamic. We spoke last week about sort of Dream's lack of involvement and how that probably...
As in, like, coming in and out of games. Like,
yes.
I saw some Tigers fans that were, disagreed with what we said quite passionately.
Yeah.
I still do think that he's a bloody good fullback and he does have big moments in games. I just want to see a little bit more of him.
For sure. And I think, like, it wasn't the cleanest performance in terms of their attack flowing, but I do think, like, there's something about Adam Dewey. He just brings so much, like, go after the game. You know, that strip that he came up with at one point.
Huge. Dane Gaga makes a lane break and just goes yoink.
But, like, the reality is, like...
And he actually was the try assist after that, I'm pretty sure, as well.
For Suka, yeah. So if he doesn't strip the ball there, like, yes, there was other guys coming. Very good chance that Dane Gagai scores.
Yeah.
So like to have the balls to just go, you know, I'm actually going to try and come up with this play there, and he nailed it. Sets up Suker off the back of it for his first NRL try. Like, yeah, I think he brings so much into this side, and they're only going to build on that. They've also got Twal to come back in, which what he offers for their attack now. It's going to be interesting what that means for Seyfarth.
Yes, who's been decent. I will say, though, like I just think with the Tiger side, with this much field position and possession, once that combination re-gels between him and Dewey, they should be scoring more points now. This is a good attacking side.
They definitely should be. And
Now
yeah.
They did lose Taylor May.
Yep.
Look, I've said my piece on this. I think, especially after the second dislocation, he should have been straight into the surgery room. I don't know whose decision it was. If it's Taylor May's decision, I don't like that. It should be the coaching staff's decision that says, yes, I know you want to play, mate, but it's not best for the team and it's not best for yourself. If it's the coach's decision to say, no, we need you to play, I definitely don't like that. I stand by my statements. I didn't like the fact that he was back out there playing. And it was a relatively innocuous, normal tackle. It wasn't like he was hyperextended or
crazy, no.
Just a hard tackle that if his shoulder is normal, he's sweet. He gets up and whatever. So I thought that was disappointing.
I've got nothing to add there. I think you've nailed that. I think my main takeaway from this game, Kempy, was that I think the Knights, to compete at the back end, they need to fully lean into the fact that they can score from anywhere, as we saw in this game. I think looking at this game, yes, it's against the Tigers, but to have not had that much field position relative to the Tigers and to still find a way to win despite making a lot of errors, like they should be confident in that. I think it's just going to be about finding the balance. Like I think if you give Penrith or the Dolphins that much time with the ball, in good ball, off the back of your own errors, they'll make you pay a lot more, obviously. But
just quickly on the Tigers as well, I also stand by I think Macassini, put him in New South Wales Cup, let him play a season out, get him confidence, get him back. Like if at the start of the year, what you saw was a confident young kid that just ripped anyone that he saw. Now what you've seen is a kid that has been targeted by oppositions physically in a team that's had a bunch of injuries. Now you see a Macassini that's doubting himself, that's questioning himself. And this is what I spoke about quite a few weeks ago now. This is why sometimes you just hold them back a little bit further than they, Macassini is clearly going to be a gun first grader. But hold him back, put him in reserve grade so that he comes into first grade next year absolutely flying with confidence. Whereas right now, he does look like he's doubting himself. He does look like he's lacking a bit of confidence. And I think that they should have pulled the trigger a few weeks ago.
he could have been playing SG ball at the start of the year. Like he's so young. Like I think it is hard when you see a guy do what he did to, and it obviously went viral what he did to Dill Edwards at the start of the year.
That was at the start of the year. By the time he gets to mid-year and you see guys like Fisher Harris going after him and like Satili Tupanua and
I agree. Yeah.
Protect the young fella.
For sure. And I think like it's hard if they're like even the idea of having him sort of on the bench, like
get him playing New South Wales Cup.
Get minutes in him, put him in him dropping back to Cup now. And I think it could even be good for him because like he would be hyper confident, but I think there would be certain sides you come up against where you're still playing against veterans who maybe just not making
I want him to
anymore.
go back and fucking rip New South Wales Cup to shreds.
And I think he will.
Yeah, I think he will, and come back into first grade next year. And also, like even the crazy games he had were on the wing as well. I don't know why that they haven't. I feel like, and when I say protected, it feels like it's much more dramatic than what I really mean by that. But what I'm saying is like protect his development.
Yeah,
protect his for example, I reckon Wayne Bennett would have put him in. Okay, here's a great example. Bostock made his debut, and he didn't actually play that ball bad, but he got targeted massively. They were shooting at him. Wayne dropped him and didn't put him in first grade for quite a while because he was like, I just don't think he's physically ready for first grade. And I think Macassini, once they got to mid-year and realised that every team was targeting him physically, get him out of there. Let him build some confidence in New South Wales Cup, in my opinion.
Yeah, my concern, Kempy, is that this Taylor May injury means that whatever chances of that happening probably are drastically less, especially with Luke Luali'i leaving early.
I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that.
Speaks to your point before. It makes it seem even more absurd now.
Yeah. Alrighty, that's us done and dusted. Apologies that we had to cram so much in, guys. I apologise, but it's just the way it is with Origin around the corner. Give Tommy a follow on Instagram, Tommy Jaeger, and we'll go fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.